Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has harem with Snivy x Riolu. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Hussbek and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1: Victory with a Price. In the middle of a war-torn battlefield, Naruto and Killer Bee in full bijou mode face off against Toby, who possesses the tailed beasts. Things are looking grim for Naruto as the tailed beasts prepare a combined tailed beast bomb to fire at him and Bee. "Things are looking bad for you, aren't they, Kit?" said a voice all too familiar to the blonde ninja. "Kyubi? What is it? Can't you see I'm trying to think of a way out of this situation?" said Naruto. But Kyubi, wanting to talk to Naruto, dragged him into the mindscape with or without his consent. Mindscape. When Naruto opens his eyes, he realizes that he is in the familiar sewer with a giant gate, and behind it lay a giant red-furred fox with 9 tails known to the world as the Kyubi no Kitsune. "Why did you bring me here? What do you want?" asked Naruto, seeing it as odd that the fox would want anything to do with him, much less talk. "Kit, I have been with you throughout your entire life, from your birth all the way to now. I have borne witness to your iron will and have saved others from darkness, as well as not falling into it yourself, even to the point of wanting to helping me with my hatred, which no one has ever done for me before." Confused, Naruto asked, "What are you trying to say? Because I don't get it." Slightly irritated, Kyubi said, "What I am trying to is that I want to apologize and I wish to start over between the both of us, beginning with telling you that my name is Kurama." Well, to say that Naruto is shocked at what the newly named Kurama said is an understatement. But after a minute he gave a smile to the fox and said, "I hope that our friendship will last till the end of time." Kurama holding out fist towards Kurama, who returned it in kind, creating a strong bond both in mind and soul. "Hey kid, I just discovered that you have an affinity to lightning, water, fire from me and your parents, in addition to your wind affinity, which must have unlocked after we bonded." "Wow, as amazing as it sounds, we will deal with it later, as the first thing is to defeat Toby and free the other tailed beasts," said Naruto with determination. "You're right. Let's bond our chakra together, and show that wannabe god the true power of a tailed beast and his partner," said Kurama. "Right. We will win no matter what, believe it!" Naruto yelled, as he unlocked the seal and yellow chakra exploded out of both him and Kurama. The real world. As Naruto opened his eyes, the captured were almost done with the combined tailed beast ball, and Enbi is visibly exhausted. "Yo Naruto, I will be on the offensive while you be the support," yelled Bee. "No, Octopops, we'll switch roles as you are still wounded from the first round, so I'll be the tank," said Naruto. For him to say that, could it be that Kyubi and Naruto have bonded? Thought Killer Bee. Naruto channeled his chakra and reactivated the bijou mode, this time with a cloak to signify the bond between him and Kurama. Then he summoned the ethereal form of Kurama, ready for battle. "Kit, we need to counter their attack with the same in kind," said Kurama. "Sure thing, partner," said Naruto. Kurama opened his mouth and began to channel chakra into a tailed beast ball, and both sides fired at the exact same time, with Kurama's attack hitting lower, hence launching both into the air and exploding. "Even with half of its true power, the 9-tailed fox is truly the most powerful above all the tailed beasts," said with a slight unease. "Let's get him, Kurama!" yelled Naruto, to which was responded with a roar as they dashed towards the beasts. Kurama quickly executed an uppercut on Nibi, launching her into the air and using his tails to knock the Sanbai, who was rolling towards him, off course and into the Yambi. Afterward he jumps into the air and grabs the Nanabi. The tail threw him towards the ground, right into the Rokubi. Upon landing on the ground, Kurama quickly sidestepped, avoiding the Gobi, who was charging in by a hair, and executed a double kick, launching it into the other tailed beasts, who were recovering from Kurama's assault, further damaging. "Amazing, Naruto and Kurama must be in total sync to be able to fight like that," said the Hachibi, who was stunned at the display of the duo's prowess. "Damn, they are beginning to slow down. I need to reabsorb the beasts and retreat to formulate a plan against the Uzumaki brats," said Toby as he summons the ghetto statue and begins the process. "Hey Kurama, isn't that the statue that Niji described to us after we rescued Gaara?" asked Naruto. "Indeed, that bastard must be planning to reabsorb the tailed beasts and make a break for something we can't allow." Quickly charging up a tailed beast ball, the duo launched it into the statue, resulting in an explosion which broke the chains tied to the beasts, hence freeing them, although they lost consciousness. When the smoke clears, Toby is revealed laying on the floor with the lower part of his body blown off due to the explosion. Which means that the fourth great shinobi war is over and that Naruto is victorious. "Damn you, Uzumaki! Even if you have one, I will have the last laugh," yelled Toby. "Kit, get out of there. The bastard is about to send us into another, and there's no way that we can return," shouted Kurama, but was too late as Naruto fell into the hole and B was still wounded to help. As the other ninjas arrived, Hinata asked, "B, where is Naruto?" He refused to answer as he thought that although they won the war, the price somewhere else in another dimension. "Hey, what's going on outside?" wondered Ash Ketchum, who was with Iris and Sillin in the Pokemon Center in Straighten City after winning his trio badge from Sillin's Pokemon Gym. "It seems it's coming from the ruins of the Dream Yard," Professor Fennel answered, "but that place has been abandoned for a long time unless someone is trying to collect the dream energy." "Then we must go and investigate," said Officer Jenny, who got into her police car alongside Fennel. "Wait, we can help too, let's go, Pikachu," said Ash with the electric mouse on his shoulder. "Pika," he responded. "Wait for us, we coming along too," shouted Iris with Sillin following. They all headed towards the Dream Yard, not aware of the companion they would soon meet and the unforgettable memories they would have. Mindscape. "Kid, wake up!" yelled Kurama. Naruto jumped up surprised from the outburst. "Kurama, what happened? What's going on?" asked Naruto, obviously confused. "When that bastard Uchiha used Kamui on us, it sent us to another dimension with no way of going back," said Kurama, noticing Naruto slumping his shoulders and on the verge of tears. When he went to wipe his eyes, he noticed that instead of hands he now has paws, and his reflection displayed a mirror image of Kurama except with white fur and black markings similar to Kurama's bijou mode. "What happened to my body?" yelled Naruto while panicking. "Calm down. It seems exposure to the dimension rift along with an unknown energy from this dimension altered your body to adapt to it, and I have noticed that your elemental affinities have changed in such a way that you will transform when using one of them in and out of battle. By the way, you can still use chakra and ninjutsu." "Okay, thanks for the info. Well, since we're here now, let's see what this world has to offer, shall we?" said Naruto as he left the mindscape. Chapter 2: A New Purpose. With Ash and the others. "So this is the Dream Yard," said Ash as he looks over the abandoned ruins, which now has a strange atmosphere due to the pulsing dream energy. "Yes, this place is the result due to a failed project that was meant to help the world," said Fennel sadly. "What do you mean, Professor?" Sillin asked the question which was on everyone's mind. "We were working harnessing the dream energy which was emitted by Masharna to view the dreams of Pokemon and strengthen bonds between humans and Pokemon, but due to the greed of the directors, Masharna lost control of the dream energy, resulting in the explosion and her disappearance," Fennel explained. "Well, with what is happening right now, it must have something to do with Masharna," said Sillin. "Then let's get going," said Ash, who was running off with the others following until they reach a clearing, with Ash seeing strange machine being controlled by a trio whom he was all too familiar with. "You guys again?" Ash yelled. "And I am not going to write the Team Rocket since it creeps me out." "Ah, great, it's the twerp and his Pikachu along with a new gang," said Jessie. "Ash, who are they?" asked Iris. "They are called Team Rocket, a crime organization whose purpose is to steal powerful Pokemon to rule the world, as they have been after my Pikachu for a long time now," Ash replied. "But what is a Kanto organization doing here in Unova?" asked Officer Jenny. "We intend to spread our ambition, starting with the Unova region," said James. "And we are going to do so by harnessing this dream energy," said Meowth, surprising everyone except Ash. "Well, we are not going to stand and nothing while watching you do whatever you want, Pikachu. Let's stop them," Ash declared. "Pika!" said Pikachu with confidence. He was about to attack when a purple light burst from the ground, blinding everyone. When the light faded, a Pokemon appeared whom Fennel immediately recognized to be Masharna. "So this Pokemon, is this the source of the dream energy? We need to capture it for the boss," said Meowth, pressing a button on a remote, making the machine to shoot out an energy beam which encircled Masharna, restraining her. "I won't let you!" "Pikachu, use Volt Tackle!" yelled Ash. Pikachu started running towards Team Rocket whilst coated in electricity. "That's what you think," Meowth sneered, pressing another button, making the machine to fire energy beams at Pikachu, who was dodging left and right. A beam was about to hit Pikachu when a white blur jumped in between and knocked it off course. Everyone turned their attention to the newcomer and were stunned to see a Pokemon that looks like a Ninetales but with white fur and black markings on its body. "What kind of Pokemon is that?" Ash wondered. With Naruto, 20 minutes earlier. When he woke up, Naruto discovers that he is in a forest clearing and he takes notice of strange-looking creatures running around the forest. "What do you think I should do now, Kurama?" asked Naruto. "I suggest that you familiarize yourself with your new body and what techniques you can execute," Kurama advised. In the next 10 minutes, Naruto learned to channel chakra, create new moves. AMD discovers that he can use shadow clones and the Rasengan. After getting full mastery over his new body, Naruto begins moving through the forest when a bright light caught his attention. "Hey Kit, I sense an energy surge from where the light came from and it's quite large," said Kurama. "Sure thing, Kurama, I on my way there," said Naruto as he dashed toward the source. When he arrived, Naruto see a group with a boy commanding another one of those strange creatures to attack a trio who are standing beside a machine that is restraining one of the creatures while attacking the other group. "I may not what's going on, but I know what I should do," thought Naruto before jumping in to help the larger group. "You and your hero complex," grumbled Kurama. Present time. "Who is this Pokemon? It looks like a Ninetales but different," said Meowth with a stunned look on his face. "It doesn't matter what it's since it decided to help the twerps, making it our enemy," said Jessie, grabbing the remote from Meowth and commanding the machine to attack Naruto. Naruto began evading the volley of energy attacks with side steps and flips before building a distance in order to make his next move, Shadow Clone Jutsu. A poof of white smoke which clears to reveal 10 copies of the original. "Is that double team? But it doesn't look like illusions but solid clones," said Sillin, who was shocked at the Pokemon's powers. "Okay guys. Move in with extreme speed," Naruto called. "Okay boss." The clones charged in, leaving behind white streaks of light. The machine quickly released another volley of energy attack, destroying the clones, only to see that the original is nowhere to be seen. "Where did he go?" everyone thought. "Up here," yelled a voice. They all looked up to see Naruto diving towards the machine with a spiraling ball of energy in his paw. "Take this, Rasengan!" ramming the attack into the machine, destroying it and freeing Masharna in the process. Amazing, this Pokemon's power could even take on legendary Pokemon. Ash agreed, with Pikachu agreeing, as they had encountered many of them to realize. "Damn! We need to retreat!" shouted Jessie, calling out Woobat, who used Gus to create a distraction for escape. "TCH, they got away," said Naruto. "True, but I get the feeling that this won't be the last that we see of them," said Kurama. "Hey, thanks for helping us rescue Masharna. Form Team Rocket," said Ash. "Don't mention it, I couldn't just stand there and watch them do that. By the way, my name is Naruto, nice to meet all of you." "Believe it," he replied with a smile. "Is that the name of your Pokemon species? Because I can't tell if you are a Ninetales?" Iris asked curiously. "Pokemon? What is that?" Naruto asked, with curiously confusing the group. "What do you mean by that? You are a Pokemon, aren't you?" said Fennel. "Hey Kit, I think they must be referring to those creatures we saw on the way, and that you are one as well," said Kurama. "You think I should tell them where I came from?" thought Naruto. "They look trustworthy, as I sense no negative emotions from them," said Kurama. "Well, I will tell you about myself if you tell me about this world," said Naruto to the baffled group due to what he just said. Pokemon Center. After an hour of explanation between both sides, Naruto was having a conversation with Kurama. "This world sounds interesting, especially with these legendary Pokemon," said Kurama. "Yeah, and this Pokemon League sounds like the ideal event for me to let loose against strong opponents," said Naruto with a foxy grin. "I think we should join Ash, since in a way he reminds me of myself," and he faded out of the mindscape. Meanwhile, Ash was talking to Professor Oak about Naruto, who was excited at the discovery of a new Pokemon. "In that case, I will add another slot to your party, since I need you to research on Naruto with his powers and abilities. Also, I am installing a feature to your Pokédex to record him to the database," said the Pokemon professor. "Thanks, Professor. I will let you know of anything else," said Ash before ending the connection. "Hey Ash, I need to talk to you," called out Naruto, gaining his attention. "I decided to come along with you on your journey since I don't have anything else to do." "Sure thing, Naruto. I was even about to invite you to join us," Ash said happily. "Well, put me in one of those Pokeballs and then we are all set," said Naruto. Ash tossed a Pokeball at him and drew him into it, and pinged, signifying the capture without a struggle. However, the Pokeball opened, releasing Naruto, who was shuddering. "I don't think I will like going in there," said Naruto, still shaking. "Now you know how I feel being in here," snickered Kurama. "Well, it's not necessary to be in a Pokeball like Pikachu," said Ash while Pikachu waved at Naruto. "Now let's meet up with the others and get ready to go to the next Pokemon gym, as I am getting excited," said Naruto with a foxy grin. The next day, Naruto, along with Ash, Pikachu, Iris, and Sillin, set out of Straighten City towards the next Pokemon gym, looking forward to a memorable journey full of twists and turns. Unknown to them, a mysterious figure watches over them, particularly Naruto, with interest. Chapter 3: brought up to speed, and the green snake. Ever since the gang left Straighten City, it has never been a dull moment with Naruto around. Asa took a liking to riding on his back whenever they walk. Pikachu would often go exploring with Naruto through the area whenever they set up camp, teaching him about the nature and behavior of different Pokemon. Tepig views him as a brother figure since Naruto sympathized with him and promised to support throughout the time spent together. Ashwat likes Naruto as he is often encouraged as well as being tutored to mastering deflecting projectiles with his skull chop. On the human side, Naruto would tell them stories of his pranks in his village. He refuses to tell them of his hard life, and Ash would tell him of his adventures in the other regions and the Pokemon battles he had. Sillin gets along with him especially when it comes to food. After learning that he could cook anything, Naruto immediately demanded that he should cook ramen, even to the point of teaching him how to cook it. Flashback start. "Hey Sillin, the Pokemon you cook tastes amazing," said Naruto with glee. Sillin smiled and said, "Thanks for the compliment. Just give me the ingredients, and I can cook anything." Naruto immediately froze at those words. "Could you repeat what you just said?" "I said that just give me the ingredients, and I can cook anything. Why do you ask?" said Sillin with a confused look on his face, and was tackled to the ground by Naruto. "Then you are going to cook ramen, even if I have to teach you to cook it?" Naruto was screaming at the top of his lungs with a desperate look on his face. "Okay then, let's get the things needed for making the ramen," said Sillin with Naruto repeatedly saying thank you. Flashback end. With Iris, they get along well as they both enjoy communing with nature and often racing each other through the trees with even wins, losses and draws. Although they tend to argue over maturity, as Naruto hates being called a kid as Iris hates being taunted about her hair. Later in the night. When he opened his eyes, Naruto notices that he in white space with nothing in sight, where I am and what this is about. He wondered as he looked around. "I brought you here," Naruto Uzumaki, a voice called out. Naruto quickly turned around to see Pokemon looking like a deer with a golden circular hoop in its midsection and colored plates attached to it. And is the best I could describe on my own, merely looking at it. Naruto instinctively knew that he shouldn't mess with this one. "Who are you, since you already know my name?" asked Naruto. "My name is Arceus, the creator of Pokemon," replied the newly named Arceus to a speechless Naruto who didn't expect to meet a god. "Do calm down, young one, I mean no harm, as I simply wished to speak with you." "Okay, so what is it that you want to talk about?" asked Naruto. "I have been feeling a sense of foreboding that is about to occur in the region which you are in, and my request was that you and Ash would resolve them, or the balance would disrupt, and the other legendary Pokemon are focusing on their duties to assist in the coming situation," said Arceus. After thinking for a minute, "Okay, I will help you with the problem since it will involve the safety of my newly found precious people and Pokemon as well as bring justice to those who seek to harm the innocent," said Naruto with a foxy grin. "Thank you, Naruto Uzumaki. May we meet again when the time comes," said Arceus as it faded away. When Naruto woke up in the morning, he informed Kurama of the dream and meeting with Arceus. "All I can say is that we should train harder in order to be ready for whatever comes our way," said Kurama. "Okay then, by the way, how do I unlock the other forms? I can sense them while meditating, but I can't access them," said Naruto, thinking deeply. "By my theory, you need to fulfill a certain condition for each of them. Afterwards you can access them anytime, but if you are hit by a powerful attack with a type advantage, you will be forced to revert to your base form, so you better be careful in battle," said Kurama. "Thanks for the info, partner. I'll see you around," said Naruto before fading from the mindscape. On a bright sunny day, the gang were having lunch in a grass clearing while enjoying the serenity of nature. Everyone except the Pokemon were enjoying the food of the gods, that is ramen. Sillin and Naruto had come to the agreement to cook ramen every once in a while, and today is one of those days. "Hey Sillin, where is my portion of ramen?" said Naruto after eating his Pokemon food and looking at Sillin with a hungry look in his eyes. "It's over at the table," said Sillin, amused at the Pokemon ninja's addiction to the food, although he and the others like it but not to the point of addiction. Naruto quickly dashed to the table, looking forward to pleasuring his taste buds only to find nothing there. Naruto was about to rant that his ramen was kidnapped when he noticed movement through the grass nearby and followed it cautiously until he reached a clearing where he saw a Pokemon that looks like a snake with 2 legs and 3 pointed leaf for a tail. "Hey Kit, isn't that a Snivy, which is one of the starters from Unova?" said Kurama. "Yeah, but I don't care about that as she is reaching my ramen," said Naruto with a tick mark appearing on his head. As he approached the grass snake Pokemon, she looked at him and smirked. "This tastes pretty good, so I hope you didn't mind when I helped myself to it," said Snivy with a mischievous look. "No, I did mind, and I still do. I had been looking forward to eating the ramen, and you just appear from nowhere and eat it, and that means wars." Naruto spoke angrily. Kurama's sweat dropped at his partner's outburst, but knows that messing with Naruto and his ramen is a hazardous risk. If that is the case, then let me finish this, then we can have a battle, said Snivy. Oh okay, just take your time and enjoy the taste, said Naruto, to which Kurama face faulted at. Later on, the two Pokemon face off at the clearing waiting for either side to make a move. Snivy starts off with Vine Whip, to which Naruto deflected with Crush Claw. He quickly closes the distance to engage in close-range combat but was knocked back by Snivy using Leaf Storm as a barrier before launching the attack at the Fox Pokemon, who quickly leaped into the air to avoid. Not bad, but let's see you handle this, Shadow Clones, said Naruto, summoning a bunch of clones to attack a surprised Snivy. This isn't double team as they all look solid, but I am sure that they will disappear when I attack them, thought Snivy. She quickly dashes towards the clones using Leaf Blade to defeat everyone. She is quite quick on her toes, unlike any wild Pokemon I have ever met unless, thought Naruto before calling out, hey Snivy, by any chance were you with Trainer before? Surprised by the accurate question, Snivy answered, yes I was, but I abandoned him because he was too inexperienced and would have hurt himself. After thinking for a minute, Naruto spoke, if that's the case, how about if I defeat you, then will join me with my trainer, we can help you achieve your true potential. Alright, only if you defeat me in this battle, said Snivy, getting into a stance with Naruto doing the same. Naruto dashes towards Snivy while evading the attacks from the Vine Whip before striking with Crush Claw. She retaliates, with Leaf Blade knocking him back. Naruto tries to close the distance with extreme speed when Snivy uses Attract with makes contact, confusing him. However, due to extreme speed being interrupted, Naruto tumbles forward and winds up kissing Snivy on the lips. How many anime had this sort of scene? Surprised by the contact, Snivy started blushing, trying to figure out the situation, which distracted her enough for Naruto to recover his senses and use Rasengan to slam her to a tree, knocking her out and winning the battle. Naruto picks Snivy up with his tails and heads back to Ash and the others while thinking that something between the two of them but can't remember. When they return, Naruto explains what happened and Ash captures Snivy with her consent. Later that night, Naruto felt that someone was sleeping on his tails only to see Snivy on them. Although he was wondering about this action, he wasn't bothered but rather comfortable with it, and returned to sleep looking forward the next day. As Snivy slept, she blushed upon remembering the kiss and thought maybe if we spend time together then I would get to know him better. Chapter 4, The Clock Tower and Axu in Training. Ever since Snivy joined the group, she got along with Ash and the other Pokemon. But it's rather Naruto who got her interested in the most. He always looks out for the other Pokemon regardless of them belonging to Ash or the others. Snivy tends to stay around or near. Like whenever Naruto sleeps, Snivy is often found curled up in his tails, or when they are eating, she prefers to eat next to him. Naruto, being the dense guy that he is, always wonders why Snivy tends to blush when close to him. When he asks Kurama about it, he always gets the same reply, figure it out yourself, I don't want to get myself involved with this one. On their way to Nacrene City for Ash's next gym battle, the gang reach a town where they decided to stop for a break for lunch next to river. Hey Sillin, what do we have on the menu today? Asked Naruto with anticipation for the next delicious meal to be cooked by his friend, with Ash nodding just as eagerly. You boys are such kids just for an everyday lunch? Said Iris, only for her stomach to rumble in protest. Everybody including Kurama sweat dropped at the embarrassing scene, while Iris looked like she wanted a dragon Pokemon to just swoop in and carry her out of their sight. Well, the foods is almost ready. While Naruto, Axu and Pikachu, I got Pokemon food and berries as the appetizer, said Sillin with pride on culinary skills. Naruto and the others were happy to hear that. When suddenly, a Pokemon appeared from the nearby bushes. It has a round body with an orange face and yellow curly eyebrows. It has 3 yellow ovals on its abdomen and a curvy yellow line on its back. Its paws are orange and have 3 digits each. Whoa, what kind of Pokemon is that? Ash wondered out before taking out his Pokédex to scan this new Pokemon. Darumaka, the Zen Charm Pokemon. When it sleeps, it pulls its limbs into its body and cannot be knocked over whether pushed or pulled, and its internal fire goes down to 1100 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow, that also sounds like the sage training I had with the toads back at MT Mabuka, said Naruto in amazement. The Pokemon waved its hand at greeting. Naruto was about to approach it to engage in a conversation when he heard Pikachu and Axu arguing. Hey guys, what's going on here? Asked Naruto. My bowl of Pokemon food is gone and I am sure that Axu ate it, said Pikachu while pointing at Axu. I didn't eat anything, I didn't even notice that it was gone, said Axu. Maybe Pikachu ate it all and forgot, said Iris. I don't think so. What do you think, Darumaka? Ash said, turning to Darumaka, only to find it had fallen asleep. Hey Kit, try tipping it and let's see if it really can't be knocked over, said Kurama. What a coincidence. I was thinking the same thing, thought Naruto as he used one of his tails to push against the sleeping Darumaka, who rocked back and forth but didn't fall over. He was mesmerized until he heard Pikachu and Axa fighting again. This time Axa's food is gone. This is getting suspicious, said Naruto before closing his eyes to use his sensor ability. Over there! Exclaimed Naruto, everyone turning their heads to where Naruto pointed to see another Darumaka with the missing Pokemon food. Hey, give them back! Said Ash, approaching the second Darumaka, but had to dodge due to the first waking up, attacking from behind with a flamethrower. Oshawott, use water gun on the both of them! Ash shouted, throwing the Pokeball to call on him. Oshawott came and launched a stream of water at the two Darumaka, but they easily dodged the attack and responded with a double flamethrower, which instantly knocked out Oshawott in one hit. Oh no, Ash! We need to get Oshawott to the Pokemon Center fast, said Naruto, worried for the water Pokemon as he watched the duo escape with the food. The gang quickly rushed to the Pokemon Center for healing. At the Pokemon Center, Naruto and the others were talking about what occurred earlier with the fire duo. Those Pokemon may have caused us trouble, but they certainly executed good teamwork, unlike most of the wild Pokemon, said Naruto. Indeed, their combination certainly produces a hot flavor, Silent said while agreeing with Naruto. Oh, you must be talking about the Darumaka, aren't you? Asked Nurse Joy, who was bringing Oshawott from the recovery room. The gang nodded in affirmation, and she began to tell them about the Darumaka who accompanied a Darmanitan that always helped the townspeople until recently. The Darumaka have been stealing food, and it has been noticed that the Darmanitan is nowhere to be seen. Naruto began to suspect that something is going on that involves the thievery and the absence of the Darmanitan, but decided to think about it later. Later that, Ash and the others were having dinner when Nurse Joy announced that we'll be serving moon cakes. Ash and the others got up to help Nurse Joy to distribute the snacks. On their way to the kitchen, they heard a clatter of pans falling to the floor, and they reached there. They saw the Darumaka making off with moon cakes. Ash was about to pursue when Naruto stopped him. Ash, wait. I have an idea for those two Pokemon. Shadow Clone, said Naruto. Immediately 10 copies appeared in a puff of smoke. Go after them and let me know when you find them. Yes, boss. When the clones left to go after the duo, Iris asked him. Why did you send the clones after them instead of us following them? Because whatever my clones learn or experience before dispelling, it is sent back to the original, Naruto replied. Wow, that's a pretty amazing technique, said Pikachu in wonder. After a while, Naruto received the memories of one of the clones and led to a clock tower in the middle of town. Hold on, didn't Nurse Joy say that the clock tower would soon be torn down? I wonder why the Darumaka would come, said Silin. I'm sure we will get our answers when we go in there, said Ash. As they went in, Naruto and others saw the duo who, upon seeing them, ran up the stairs with the group giving chase. When they reached the next floor, the Darumaka were nowhere to be seen. Naruto used his senses and detected that they were behind them at the corner of the ceiling. Guys, watch out. They are behind us. Naruto shouted out as the duo launched a double flamethrower, which the group dodged but set a wooden staircase ablaze. Oshawott, come out and use water gun on the fire, said Ash, calling on Oshawott once again. Oshawott quickly launched a stream of water at the fire, successfully putting it out, but the wooden structure crumbled to pieces. The Darumaka released another flamethrower at the group again, to which Ash commanded Pikachu use Thunderbolt to cancel out the attack. Oshawott, use water gun again. Another stream of water was launched, this time making contact with the duo and knocking them back. The Darumaka was about to attack when Naruto called out to them. Wait. We didn't come here to fight, we just want to know why you have been stealing the food. I can tell that you both have good reasons for doing that, said Naruto, with the others agreeing with him. The two Darumaka looked at each other before pointing at the next floor as if gesturing that they want to go up there. It seems that there is something important up and that they need to go up there, said Ash. But how do we get up there? As the stairs is destroyed and it's too high for us to reach, said Iris. I have an idea. Ash, bring out Snivy. I will need her help for this, said Naruto. Ash complied and sent out Snivy. Okay, Snivy, I need you to climb on my back and hold on tight, said Naruto. Okay, Naruto, said Snivy, who quickly got on his back. Naruto channeled chakra to his feet and began to walk up the wall, surprising the others, to the opening in the ceiling. Okay, Snivy, now use your vine whip to help the others up here, said Naruto. After bringing the others up, the group continued upwards until they reached the top of the tower, where they came across a Pokemon. Hey, isn't that the Darmanitan that was often seen with the Darumaka? What is it doing here? Said Iris. Ash took out his Pokédex and scanned the Pokemon. Darmanitan, the blazing Pokemon, and the evolved form of Darumaka. Darmanitan switches from standard mode to Zen mode when it has little energy left. Something is weird, Kit. I sense its energy is in full strength, but I also sense it using its power for something, said Kurama. You are right, but for what? Said Naruto. When he looked around, he saw a large bell above the Darmanitan. Hey guys, isn't there something strange about the bell? He said, bring the others' attention to it. You're right, it's floating in midair by Darmanitan using psychic, but why, said Sillin. The Darumaka brought out a large piece of metal which the group identified as the bell hook, which was bent out of shape. I get it now. When the bell was about to fall, the Darmanitan caught it from falling, but when it grew tired, it switched to Zen mode to use its psychic abilities to hold it up, and the Darumaka had been stealing food to keep up its energy, said Naruto. Then we need to fix the bell hook. Sillin, bring out Panzage and Darumaka. We need you to use your flamethrower to heat up the metal for Panzage to shape it up, said Naruto. They quickly carried out the plan, and Oshawott used water gun to cool it down. Darmanitan, use psychic help. Ash, set the bell hook in place, and then exit from your Zen mode. We need your strength to lift bell to the hook, said Naruto. After letting Ash set the bell hook, it exited from Zen mode and tossed the bell into the air before quickly climbing to the top and grabbing it and setting it onto the hook. Next morning, before the group set out, Nurse Joy gave them the news that the clock tower won't be torn down, to the joy of the Darumaka and the Darmanitan, who bade them farewell on their journey. While on the road to Nakreen City, Iris and Sillin were having training battle Axu and Panzage, much to the chagrin of Ash. Come on, Iris, why won't you let me battle you? Asked Ash. Well, that's because you don't know how to hold back and attack head on like a kid, said Iris, while Naruto looked on in amusement. Ash, Iris has a point, as Axu is young and inexperienced unlike you and Pikachu, so he needs to gain experience, said Sillin. The battle went on well until when Axu tried to use Dragon Rage, with the end result of an explosion knocking everyone off their feet. Hey Kit, it seems to face the similar to when you were trying to master Rasengan, said Kurama. You're right about that, Kurama, thought Naruto as he got up and approached Axu. Hey Iris, it seems that Axu has difficulty releasing the attack after channeling its energy, right? Yeah, whenever Axu tries to use the attack, it always ends up exploding in our faces, said Iris. I was wondering where you got Axu, Iris? Asked Ash. While Naruto, Iris and the others were talking, she told them that she got Axu from the village elder from the village of dragons where she lived. Meanwhile, Axu and Pikachu went to collect apples for lunch. When Axu was reaching for an apple, he fell off the branch and got stuck in the horns of a scoilopede. Pikachu tried to help with an iron tail attack which infuriated it, and began to chase him. Naruto quickly sensed that they were in trouble and ran towards them with Iris and the others in pursuit. When they came into view, they saw Pikachu avoiding attacks from Scoilopede and Axu stuck in its horns. Iris, don't you have another Pokemon to battle? Asked Ash. Yes, but it doesn't listen to me, said Iris, trying not to panic. If that's the case, I'll hold it down while you grab Axu, then we can defeat it, said Naruto. He quickly summoned 4 clones who quickly used their tails to wrap around the Scoilopede's legs while applying chakra to their anchor it down. Iris grabbed a vine and swung down, snatching Axu out of its horns. Naruto, can you throw your Rasengan? Asked Ash. Yeah, I can. Why? Asked Naruto with curiosity. Because I need you to do just that, said Ash. Naruto quickly charged up a Rasengan and threw it. Pikachu, use Iron Tail on the Rasengan, Ash called out. Pikachu slammed its tail on the Rasengan, increasing its speed towards the Scoilopede, sending it into the air with great force into the distance. Hey Axu, are you alright? Asked Iris with Naruto looking on in concern. Yeah, I am fine, replied Axu. Afterwards, the gang pack continued on their journey to Nakreen City for the gym, with Naruto looking forward to a great battle. Chapter 5, Showdown at the Battle Club. On their way to Nakreen City for the next gym battle, Naruto and the gang passed through Luxuria Town when Ash began to run off, saying something about a battle club, much to Naruto's curiosity, as he has yet to know everything about the new world that he now resides. Hey Sillin, why did Ash run, and what's this talk about a battle club? Asked Naruto, with Kurama listening to get some info to think about later, as he is still examining the condition of his partner's body, as he noticed that there is something else aside from the elemental affinities hidden within. Well, the Battle Club is a place where Pokemon trainers upload their profile as well as the kind of Pokemon that they wish to battle, making it the perfect place to sharpen their battling skills before their gym battles or any other kind of event, said Sillin, with Naruto nodding in understanding. It's almost like the preliminary matches in the Chunin exams, thought Naruto. True, except that it involves these creatures to battle each other. Sounds like the best place to seek out worthy opponents. Let's go after Ash before he picks a weak opponent, said Kurama with a grin, as he is looking forward to a good battle, as they had been training for a while. If that's the case, Ash, wait for me, said Naruto, running after the excited boy, with Sillin and Iris following a bit behind. To get excited of a battle, they are such little kids, panted Iris. Hey, I heard that! Shouted Naruto, to which Kurama's sweat dropped. Doesn't that not even prove her point, said the fox before going to sleep. When they reached the building, Ash was seen going through an electronic bulletin board in search of a strong trainer. Yo Ash, have you found a trainer worth battling against? Asked Naruto, to which Ash shook his head in negative. Not yet, I'm still looking through Trip is registered here, this is the perfect chance for a rematch, said Ash with enthusiasm, with Pikachu in agreement. Who is this Trip guy and what do you mean by rematch? Asked Naruto. Trip is brand new Pokemon trainer who had started out on his journey. He was also the first trainer I have battled in the Unova region, but I lost to him as I didn't know that Pikachu wasn't able to use his electric attacks, but he was able to regain it after the battle like I told you, said Ash, to which Naruto nodded, remembering what Ash told him about a legendary Pokemon by the name Zekrom striking Pikachu with a lightning bolt, and again at the professor's lab, which helped Pikachu to recover his power. It was an embarrassing loss for me and Ash. I intend to show my true strength this time, said Pikachu with determination. Naruto and Kurama smiled at the Lightning Mouse's words, reminding them of the battles they had back at their world. I see that you know Trip as well, said Sillin, to which Ash and Naruto looked at him with a questioning look. He had a gym battle back at Straighten City against my brother Cress, and won himself a badge. Whoa, I'm sure that it takes a strong trainer to win a gym battle, which makes him the kind of guy that I would want to battle, said Naruto with a smirk, with Kurama mirroring the look. I see, so you want to battle Trip, eh? Said a deep voice from behind the group, who turned to see a man with a black hair and mustache, wearing a gray dojo clothing. I've no idea what he's wearing, and red armbands. Hello, my name is Don George and I am the manager of the battle club. Hello Don George, but didn't we meet back at Accumula Town? Asked Ash, with Naruto wondering what he is talking about. Oh, you must be talking about my brother, we are all part of an extended family. Take a look over there, said Don George, pointing to a picture on the wall which shows a family photo of Don George along with others who look the same. Wow, I would have thought they were all shadow clones if not for the fact that they don't use ninjutsu in this dimension, said Naruto. I've heard of twins, triplets, quadruplets, and so on, but this is ridiculous, said Kurama, with Naruto agreeing. Anyway, allow me to contact Trip on the X-transceiver for the battle request, said Don George, accessing the electronic bulletin before a screen popped up to show a boy with blonde hair. Hello Trip, there is someone who wants to have a Pokemon battle with you, before moving away for Ash to continue the conversation. Hey Trip, long time no see, said Ash. Why, if it isn't Ash, so you're in this town too, huh? Said Trip. Yeah, along with Sillin and Iris, we traveling together, said Ash, much to Trip's surprise. Anyway, let's have a Pokemon battle, what do you say? No thanks, what's the point of having a battle when your Pikachu lost to my Snivy who had zero experience back then, said Trip with a look of indifference which annoyed Naruto and Kurama. This guy is acting just like Sasuke, looking down on others while thinking that he is better, thought Naruto, with Kurama agreeing. Indeed, just like the Uchiha clan and their cursed eyes, said Kurama with disgust. Hey, back then Pikachu wasn't at top shape because he wasn't able to use his electric attacks, besides I've gotten a lot stronger, and caught more Pokemon as well, said Ash, who was getting irritated. Sure, let me come over and then we'll see, said Trip, who had even arrived at the battle club. Ash quickly ran over in excitement. So are you ready for our battle? Maybe, depending on how strong you are, said Trip with a smirk. Of course I'm strong, I even won a gym badge, said Ash, showing him the trio badge. Well, I've too, so it's obvious who is going to win, said Trip with arrogance. You'll never know the results until you battle, said Naruto. Trip turned and was surprised to see a Pokemon whom he had never seen before standing close to Ash and is looking at him with disapproval. Who's this Pokemon? Said Trip, bringing out his Pokédex to scan. Tokala. Tokala means fox, the fox sage Pokemon. Not much is known about this new species, but it has been noted that this Pokemon is capable of absorbing the energy from its surroundings and within itself to transform into a different form based on the energy absorbed. It can also detect the emotions of living beings from a long distance. Much information is still in progress. Where did you get a Pokemon like this from? Asked Trip. I met Tokala back at Straighten City, and he chose to join me on my journey to the Unova League, said Ash with a smile, not wanting to revealing Naruto's background any more than he already has, to which Naruto was thankful. Trip was skeptical. What I don't get is how someone like you who is from the boonies is able to get a Pokemon like it. For your information, I'm a male and why don't you lay your doubts to rest by battling us, just don't complain about the end result, said Naruto, who was getting really annoyed the boy. Okay then, after all it's basic that trainers battle each other to get stronger as well as prove who is superior, said Trip with a smirk. This guy is such a kid, said Iris, who was also getting annoyed as well. For once I agree with you, said Naruto. Soon the group moved to the battlefield where Ash, Pikachu and Naruto stood at one end and Trip stood at the other while Sillin and Iris were at the stands. Then Don George spoke up. I will be the referee for the Pokemon battle between Ash and Trip. Each trainer can use 6 Pokemon with substitutions. The battle is over when all of other trainers' Pokemon are unable to battle, so are both trainers ready? After receiving nods of approval, well then battle begin. Alright Tranquil, prepare for battle, said Trip, throwing a Pokeball, releasing a bird Pokemon, making Ash scan it with a Pokédex. Tranquil, the wild pigeon Pokemon, no matter where in the world it goes, it knows where its nest is, so it never gets separated from its trainer. I had to use the Pokédex from Pokemon Black 1 and 2. Okay Oshawott, I choose you, said Ash, throwing his own Pokeball to summon the Sea Otter Pokemon, who stood with his arms crossed, making Naruto snicker at his attempt to look cool. Isn't that the Oshawott from Professor Juniper's lab? Asked Trip, who was surprised to see it. The very same. He wanted to come along, so Professor Juniper allowed me to bring him along. Now Oshawott use water gun. Oshawott shot a stream of water at Tranquil. Trip smirked at the attempt. Tranquil dodge and use aerial ace, said Trip. Tranquil dodged the attack and immediately swooped in a high speed and Oshawott at the front and again from behind, knocking him, much to the surprise of Ash and Naruto. Oshawott is unable to battle, therefore Tranquil is the winner, said Don George. What kind of move is that, and how could it knock out Oshawott in one move? Said Naruto. He knew that the water Pokemon had a decent endurance, and wondered why it was a one-hit KO. Aerial Ace is a flying type attack that never misses, and my Tranquil has the ability Super Luck, which makes it easier for its attacks to strike easier, said Trip. It's almost similar to the Juken of the Hyuga clan where they strike at your chakra points, said Kurama, with Naruto remembering his battle against Niji back at the Chunin exams. We're not out of this yet, Tepig, I choose you. Then the Fire Pig Pokemon appeared ready for battle. Alright, use Ember on Tranquil and don't stop. Tepig began launch the attacks at Tranquil, who was dodging but could only land a few grazes, much to the Fire Pokemon's ire. Trip sneered at Ash. When your Water Pokemon failed, then you bring out your Fire type? How straightforward of you. Tranquil used Double Team. Tranquil quickly created copies of itself, making Tepig lose track of the original. It's similar to the clone technique of my world. Tepig, stay focused and try to locate the real one, said Naruto. Got it, said Tepig, who began to locate the real Tranquil but with no luck. Now Tranquil use Work Up and then use Aerial Ace, said Trip. Tranquil and the copies began to glow red and swoop towards Tepig, who was able to locate the original, shot Ember at it, but it was avoided and got struck, knocking it out as well. What does Work Up do? Asked Naruto, who was stunned at the second loss. It is move that boost up the user's attack power, explained Sillin. Damn, we already have enough problems with that Super Luck ability, and now we have to deal with that power-up technique. We must be careful when it's our turn to battle, said Kurama. Naruto nodded in agreement as Ash called Tepig back to his Pokeball. Ash, let Pikachu go up against us, he has the type advantage, said Naruto. I was about to do just that, so, Pikachu, I choose you, said Ash. You got it, Ash, said Pikachu, running out to the field. Pikachu used Thunderbolt. Pikachu released an arc of electricity at Tranquil, who dodged it again and again. So it seems that Pikachu can use electric-type moves after all, but that doesn't change anything. Tranquil used Work Up and then Aerial Ace. Tranquil glowed red again and sped toward Pikachu and struck him to the ground, but he was able to avoid getting knocked out. I'm not losing this time, said Pikachu, struggling to get up. That's enough, time for it to get 3 wins in a row, now use Aerial Ace, said Trip with arrogance. No way, Pikachu, grab hold of Tranquil and send it flying, said Ash. Once again Tranquil dived in and struck Pikachu, but he grabbed its legs and threw it into the air. Now follow it up with a Volt Tackle. Pikachu dashed towards the stunned Tranquil, whilst his body was covered in electricity, and slammed into the bird Pokemon, sending it flying into the wall with swirls in its eyes. Tranquil is unable to battle, therefore Pikachu is the winner, said Don George. Finally Ash gets a win. I was worried for a moment, said Iris happily. True, but Trip still has 5 Pokemon left while Ash only has 4, so he should be careful, said Sillin. You may have beaten Tranquil, but you're no match for my Servine, said Trip, throwing out a Pokeball to release a Pokemon that looks similar to Snivy but only a little bigger. That must be the evolved form of Snivy. It must relate to this evolution we keep hearing about. It even makes me wonder if you'll evolve as well, said Kurama. I don't know, but when the time comes we'll find out, thought Naruto. Ash, isn't that the same Pokemon that defeated Pikachu before we met? Ash nodded in confirmation. The very same, but we are not losing again, right, Pikachu? Said Ash. That's right, said Pikachu with his cheeks sparking electricity. Just come over here and lose again, sneered Servine. This guy is acting just like Sasuke, thought Naruto. Alright, Pikachu, use Iron Tail. Pikachu ran at Servine with his tail taking on a metal sheen and swung at it. Servine used Cut and then used Leaf Tornado, said Trip. Servine's paw glowed blue and swiped at Pikachu's tail, deflecting it, and spun with its tail upwards, releasing a whirlwind of leaves which captured Pikachu and slammed him to the ground, inflicting serious damage. Pikachu, please get up and use Volt Tackle, said Ash. Servine, close in and use Cut, said Trip. Both Pokemon dashed at each other with their attacks and clashed, but the end result was Pikachu laying on the ground with swirls in his eyes. Pikachu is unable to battle, therefore Servine is the winner, said Don George. Things are looking bad for us, but I won't give up no matter what, declared Ash, making Naruto smile at him. The kid reminds me of a certain stubborn knucklehead ninja I know, said Kurama with a smirk, to which Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Snivy, I choose you, said Ash, summoning the grass snake Pokemon. Please, another weak Pokemon, this is too easy, Servine taunted. We'll see about that, said Snivy with a glare. Snivy, use Vine Whip, said Ash. Snivy summoned her and lashed out at Servine, who was dodging all of her attacks with ease. Follow up with Leaf Blade and remember what Tokala taught you, said Ash, making Trip raise an eyebrow at those words. Snivy's tail glowed with green energy and swung at Servine, who ducked under the attack and was caught off guard when she spun on the ground and slammed her tail into her opponent and sent him tumbling across the field. She turned to see Naruto, who smiled, making her blush much to his confusion. I borrowed that move from one of my best friends. The first attack normally makes your opponent duck, which traps him, leaving him vulnerable for the second attack, such as the Leaf Hurricane, or should I say Leaf Blade Hurricane, said Naruto with a smirk. That's a brilliant idea from Naruto, as the first is a feint whilst the follow-up is unavoidable. That makes quite the recipe, said Sillin with a thoughtful look. Servine, use Leaf Tornado, said Trip. Servine launched the attack quickly at Snivy before she could dodge and was sent slamming on the ground. Snivy, get and use Attract. Snivy launched a string of hearts which hit Servine, which made him ogle at Snivy and couldn't attack no matter what Trip told him to do, although Naruto was currently glaring at Servine due to the way he was looking at Snivy. Kurama, why do I feel like slamming a Rasengan into that guy and sent him flying across the region? Asked Naruto while the fox was rolling on the ground in his mindscape, laughing at how his partner was possessive even though he is not aware of it. Snivy, use a full-powered Leaf Blade. Snivy jumped into the air and descended with a spinning slash which landed on Servine's head, effectively knocking him out. That's what you get for underestimating me, said Snivy with a grin. Servine is unable to battle, therefore Snivy is the winner. Good job, now return for the meantime, said Ash, calling Snivy back to her Pokeball. Not bad for someone who is from the boonies. You caught me off guard with that Attract. Now Frillish, come out for battle, said Trip, throwing out a Pokeball to release a Pokemon that looks like a floating jellyfish, to which Ash scanned it. Frillish, the floating Pokemon, they paralyze their prey with poison, then drag them down to their lairs, 5 miles below the surface. Okay, Pidove, come out and use Air Cutter, said Ash, throwing out his Pokeball to release the pigeon Pokemon, who launched the attack at the Pokemon. Use Protect and then use Water Pulse, said Trip with a smirk. The floating Pokemon summoned a green barrier which blocked the attack and then launched a sphere of water at Pidove, trapping her within before exploding, which knocked her out. Pidove is unable to battle, their Frillish is the winner, said Don George. We'll have to send Snivy back and take on that Frillish if we need an edge, said Naruto. Okay, Snivy, come out and use Vine Whip, said Ash, bringing out Snivy, who immediately launched the attack. Ash, don't let Snivy use that move, said Iris, but it was too late as the attack landed on Frillish, making it emit a dark aura, with Snivy emitting the same thing. What just happened? Said Ash, who was surprised at what is happening. I don't know, but it doesn't look good, said Naruto. Frillish has the ability Curse Body that disables any direct attacks. How could you not know that? Shouted Iris. In other words, using close-range attacks is a bad idea against this kind of opponent, This guy is really working on my last nerve, said Kurama. Fine then, Snivy use Leaf Storm. Snivy quickly gathered up the leaves and fired them at the water Pokemon. Frilsa used Protect and then used Nightshade. Frillish formed the barrier again to block the attack, and then its eyes glowed purple and released a sound wave which damaged Snivy. I have to gamble on this one shot. Snivy used Leaf Blade, said Ash, much to surprise of everyone except Naruto, who understood the reason. Snivy slammed her tail against Frillish, which dealt great damage, but wasn't enough to knock it out. Snivy emitted the dark aura again, signifying that her attack move has been disabled. Damn, the gamble didn't work at all, said Naruto, frustrated at the failed plan. Frilsai, use Confuse Ray and then use Hex, said Trip with a smirk. The water Pokemon shot an orb which struck Snivy before she could react, leaving her dazed, and then released a violet aura which enveloped her, making her scream out in pain before collapsing to the floor. Snivy is unable to battle, their Frillish is the winner, said Don George. Things are really looking bad for Ash now. He only has Tokala left, and Trip still has 4 Pokemon remaining, so I wonder how he'll pull through, said Sillin. Tokala, I choose you, said Ash, as determined as ever. Time to show him what we got, said Naruto. Give him a thrashing he'll never forget, said Kurama. HN, this will be over in a few minutes, sneered Trip, while Naruto and Ash glared back. Tokala, use Extreme Speed and then use Rasengan, said Ash. Naruto immediately dashed at Frillish at high speed, leapt at with a ball of spiraling energy in his palm, much to the surprise of the blonde boy. Quick, Frillish, use Protect to guard against that attack, shouted Trip. Frillish summoned the green barrier before Naruto's attack collided with it. However, the barrier began to crack before it shattered, leaving it open to be rammed with the sphere, and was sent crashing into a wall, not much to Trip's surprise. However, Naruto emitted the dark aura and felt his move lock up due to the Cursed Body ability. Frillish is unable to battle, therefore Tokala is the winner, said Don George, who was surprised at the sheer power of the new Pokemon. What kind of attack is that? I thought it was an aura sphere, but it shouldn't have that kind of power to break through the Protect, shouted Trip. Rasengan is a normal type attack which can break through any form of defense, and can damage any Pokemon types including Ghost type, and only I can use the move, said Naruto, smirking along with Kurama at the look of denial on Trip's face. No matter, I'll still win this battle. You can't possibly beat my remaining 3, go Purloin, said Trip, throwing out a Pokeball to release a feline-looking Pokemon. Tokala used Shadow Clones and then used Crush Claw, said Ash. Naruto quickly summoned 4 copies alongside him, and their claws began to glow white. They dashed towards Purloin, ready to strike. Purlian used Detect and then used Shadow Claw. Purloin's eyes glowed white, and its claws was coated with darkness. It proceeded to evade the attacks of the clones and struck back, making the copies disappear and Naruto receiving serious damage, so he quickly jumped back. Damn, it's like fighting Sasuke all over again, said Naruto. Tokala, be careful. Detect allows the user to avoid all kinds of attacks, while Shadow Claw is a dark-type move with a high critical hit ratio, said Pikachu, who had recovered a bit from his battle. Why don't you just give up and save yourself the humiliation after all? Your trainer is from the Bunas, taunted Trip, with Purloin smirking at Naruto. Now you listen here, I never give up, I never go back on my words, that is my ninja way, declared Naruto, who began to release chakra from his body. Naruto, it seems you can access a different form now, just focus and call out the new form, said Kurama, who was looking at 6 orbs floating in front of him in the mindscape, for was ashen color while one was glowing white and the other was bronze. Naruto closed his eyes and called out his new form combo mode. His body glowed in a bronze color, and faded to reveal a different form to everyone. His appearance is of an orange-furred monkey with spiky blonde hair tied to a ponytail. He wears Konoha forehead protector, fingerless gloves with metal plating, and a black sleeves vest with red flames and a kanji 4. Sage Ash's Pokédex spoke up. New data uploaded, form unlocked. Polymorph mode. Type normal. Ability: Guts attack power increases when poisoned, paralyzed, or burned. Attacks: Rasengan, Shadow Clone, Crush Claw, Extreme Speed, and Substitute. Combo mode. Type Fighting. Ability: Moxie attack power increases upon defeating Pokemon in battle. Attacks: Mach Punch, Work Up, Close Combat, Sky Uppercut, and Mega Kick. More forms are yet to be discovered. Naruto grinned widely and started to bounce on his toes while flexing his arms. Let's get it on. Purloin used Shadow Ball, said Trip after snapping out of his surprise. Tokala used Mach Punch and finish up with Sky Uppercut, said Ash. Naruto disappeared in a blur and appeared with his right fist buried in Purloin's belly before it could even start its attack. Then his left fist glowed before launching an uppercut which sent Purloin crashing into the ceiling before falling back to the ground and didn't get up. It was a Shoryuken moment. Purloin is unable to battle, therefore Tokala is the winner, said Don George. Naruto's body glowed orange, signifying that his ability was activated. Looks like the tables have turned to Ash's favor, said Sillin with Iris agreeing. Bro is so cool, said Axu with sparkles in his eyes. Go Patrat and use Hyper Fang, said Trip, throwing out a Pokeball to release a Pokemon that resembles a chipmunk. Its fangs stretched and glowed before it launched at who dodged the lethal attack. Tokala used Mega Kick, said Ash. Naruto's legs glowed and then he dashed towards the Pokemon and executed a barrage of kicks, think of 13 kicks from Gilgamesh DMC4, and finished up with a flying kick that was for Yuli and Guy-sensei, said Naruto with a thumbs up and a sparkling smile. His ability activated again, further boosting his power. Naruto, never, ever, do that again, shouted Kurama with agitation. Patrat is unable to battle, therefore Tokala is the winner, said Don George. And then there was one. What do you think of us now? Asked Ash with a grin. I think that I'll win this battle. Go Timber and use strength, said Trip, throwing a Pokeball to release a Pokemon hold a large piece of wood who swung it at Naruto. Tokala dodge and then use Work Up and end this with close combat. Naruto quickly vaulted over the attack and focused his energy to increase his already boosted power, and then dashed in and proceeded to release a storm of punches and kicks before wrapping it up with a classic haymaker punch that sent Timber bouncing along the field before stopping at Trip's feet with swirls in its eyes. Timber is unable to battle, therefore Tokala is the winner and the victor of the match is the Pokemon trainer Ash Ketchum, said Don George. Alright, we won! You were so amazing, Tokala! Cheered Ash, who ran to Naruto, who had reverted to his polymorph form. Sillin and Iris came along with Axa happily jumping onto Naruto's back. Thanks guys, how we go and celebrate by eating ramen, which is the food of the gods, said Naruto while drooling, much to the amusement of his friends. But then they were approached by Trip. You may have won this battle, but the next time we meet, it will be different, said Trip. Sure, but by that we'll be a whole lot stronger, so we are looking forward to it, said Ash. After healing the Pokemon at the Pokemon Center, the gang left Luxuria Town, heading for Nakreen City for their next gym battle while Naruto started planning training sessions, seeing how Trip battled. We need to get them to become stronger for future battles and for the warning Arceus told us about, said Kurama, to which Naruto nodded in agreement. You're right about that, so until then we'll be training with the others, thought Naruto as he walked alongside the group. Chapter 6, Uzumaki Training and Cleanup. It is a peaceful walk along the road to Nakreen City for the gang, as for the past few days they had gotten new Pokemon to join on their journey. Sillin caught a Dwebble after they helped it recover its rocky shell that is its home from a group of other Dwebble, and after helping Panzage recover from a fever that it felt responsible for. Ash received a Pokemon egg as a reward for resolving an issue between the kindergartens and their caretaker over a Pokemon by the name Trubbish, as they wanted it to stay with them in their school despite the smell. However, during the argument, Pokemon by the name Sandile appeared out of nowhere and began to attack, although its particular target was Pikachu, much to his confusion, but was sent flying by a combined attack from Naruto and Trubbish. Upon witnessing Trubbish's willingness to protect the children, the caretaker allowed the Pokemon to stay and her grandmother gave Ash a Pokemon egg to keep. Upon setting up camp and have a hearty lunch with Naruto, having enjoyed his daily ramen, he called out to Ash. Yo Ash! I need to talk to you along with the other Pokemon because this is very important, said Naruto. Ash had a look of curiosity but nodded before walking off to call Pikachu and the other Pokemon. Soon they all gathered at clearing where Naruto was sitting on a tree stump meditating. Upon sensing their presence, he opened his eyes and smiled at them. I'm glad that you're all here. I gathered all of us here to talk about the matter of our training, said Naruto, much to the confusion of Ash and the other Pokemon. What do you mean, Naruto? We've been training every time we make camp throughout our journey, said Ash with the Pokemon nodding. Naruto smiled sadly. That's true, however it's not enough, as the battle with Trip is the evidence that we didn't put everything out there. True, his strategy and attacks gave us trouble, but we didn't exactly have a good foothold on the Pokemon due to our lack of knowledge and proper planning, said Naruto. Ash remembered his battle with Trip and realized that he would have lost the battle if Naruto hadn't stepped in to help out, giving him the win. So what kind of training should we do if we need to get stronger so that we would get an edge on the Pokemon trainers as well as the Pokemon League? Asked Ash with the Pokemon nodding in agreement. I've planned out the training program for the Pokemon as well as you, Ash. Remember that we are a team, so we all need to get stronger together. So I'll create a few clones who will train with the Pokemon and I'll train with you, so with that shadow clones. A group of clones poofed into existence in front of them. You guys will follow the clones while I go with Ash, and we'll meet up by the end of the day, so good luck. Ash and Naruto went in one direction, while the clones and the Pokemon went in another. I wonder what kind of training Naruto has in mind for us, they all thought. With Naruto and Ash. After reaching another clearing, Ash and Naruto sat down on the grass where Naruto began to talk. Before we start, I need to ask about how you battled back in the past, as it could give me ideas about your battle style and strategy, said Naruto. Indeed, as far I can tell, he wasn't battling the way he was supposed to, said Kurama. Okay, I'll start from when I first began my Pokemon journey back at Kanto, said Ash. He began to tell Naruto of the battles he had back then and the strategies he executed back at the regions he went through. Naruto and Kurama were surprised as well as annoyed with how he battled sometimes. I'm surprised that he was able to progress through the gym and league battles with the way he battled. His strategies are quite similar to what you would have come up with, but the lack of knowledge are what is holding him back, said Kurama. Indeed, he should have been more observant, like what the member of the Elite Four from Sinnoh told him, plus his tendency to attack head-on is self-destructive for both him and the Pokemon, thought Naruto. Ash, according to what you said, you can make up unique strategies on the go in battle. You're able to adapt to situations, but sometimes you tend to fall into traps which could lead to your loss, and your lack of knowledge is holding you back big time. As far as I can tell, the techniques like the counter shield, spin, and the combination of the attacks are very useful, which is why I wonder that you don't utilize them, as they would have given you an edge in battles. So you mean by gaining knowledge and planning, I would have stood a better chance in the battle trip as well as the previous battles, said Ash, feeling downcast at how he had needlessly put his Pokemon in danger. Don't be so down, Ash. Since you now know your weakness, you can fix it and get stronger for you and your Pokemon, so cheer up and let's get started, said Naruto. Ash perked up with confidence. First, we need to train you physically. Naruto got up and grabbed a stick with his tail. Why is that important? Asked Ash, following Naruto close behind. 'Cause in battle, you will be watching out for the attacks of your opponents and that of your Pokemon, so you need to have fast reflexes and quick reactions to be able to commands in time as well as come up with strategies, because a slight delay could cost you the battle, said Naruto. Ash nodded in understanding. Now what we are going to do now is that you will chase after me and grab the stick from my tail while running through the forest. This will sharpen your reflexes and reactions, as you will have to weave through the trees as well as try to avoid any sort of obstacles. So are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready, Ash, getting ready to train. With that, the duo began to run through the forest. This is almost like a game of cat and mouse, but I'd rather keep this to myself and enjoy the show, thought Kurama. With the clones and the Pokemon. When the group arrived at another clearing, Snivy spoke up for the Pokemon. So what kind of training do you have in mind for us? Asked Snivy. Well, I want you guys to work on your speed, cause it will give you a better chance of launching your attacks more quickly as well as evading the attacks of your opponent and the commands Ash would give us in the middle of battle. Once we increased our speed, we also need to work on your accuracy, as in the previous battle. Oshawott wasn't able to strike the Tranquil with his water gun, and Tepig did a much better even if it was a graze. Then we will focus on our attacks for the last. Now let's start off with 20 laps around the clearing, then you can rest. After that we'll train you individually. After receiving a nod of confirmation from the Pokemon, they began to run laps around the clearing several times, which helped increase their speed like Naruto said. Then Naruto made them launch their attacks at the sticks which he throws into the air. Although it was a rough start at the beginning, they were able to land their attacks with pinpoint accuracy, and then Naruto made Clone, which served as a moving target since he is the fastest amongst them, so as to further sharpen their skills. Afterwards, the clones took each of the Pokemon to different places to train separately. With Oshawott, Naruto had a few ideas for the Sea Otter Pokemon. I recall some time ago that you could throw your Scalchop and it would return to you, right? Asked Naruto. Yeah, it was to pop Team Rocket's balloon before they could get away with Pikachu and Axu. Why do you ask about that? Said Oshawott with a look of curiosity. Well, I have the idea that you could infuse you energy into your Scalchop and throw it to damage as well as surprise your opponent as they won't expect it. I call it the Aqua Shell Boomerang, said Naruto. Wow, that sounds so cool. Please teach me, said Oshawott with sparkles in his eyes. Naruto chuckled softly. Of course I'll teach you, but first we need to teach you how to throw your Scalchop so that it can return to you, said Naruto. Thanks to my ninja training back home, it should help him learn more quickly. Then they began with creating the new move. With Snivy, Naruto told her his ideas about how she could create different variations with her attacks. If you use your vines to attack in an omnidirectional pattern, it will make it difficult for opponents who would try to attack from close range. It's perfect against moves like Double Team, Aerial Ace, and others. It's called *Vine Whiplash, said Naruto. Snivy had a look of interest. Even if he is not a grass type, he knows how to utilize the attacks to his own advantage. He really knows how to bring out one's potential thoughts. Snivy with a smile at the fox Pokemon. I've also thought of how you can use your leaf blade, but you could spin with it like a buzzsaw to strike your opponents, as well as deflect their attacks, which I'd like to call it the asterisk leaf buzzsaw, said Naruto. I'd like to try out these moves you made for me, Naruto, said Snivy with a bit of excitement, which Naruto caught on and smiled. Then they began their practice. With the rest of the Pokemon, Naruto taught them different variations of their attacks as well. He had Pikachu practice on new moves, which are asterisk lightning steel tail and asterisk Electric, which he was able to master in a couple of hours. For Pidove, he created moves which is asterisk gale talons and asterisk wing blade, but she can't use them as her current body can't handle the strain unless she evolves, much to her disappointment, but he made it up for it by teaching her aerial maneuvers. For Tepig, he had the fire Pokemon train on his speed, which led to him learning flame charge, much to his joy. Soon the group returned to the first clearing and met up with the original Naruto and Ash, who was covered in dirt and leaves. The clones dispelled, giving him the memories of their training. Well, Ash, Snivy, Pikachu, Oshawott and Tepig learned new techniques, but Pidove will have to evolve to use her own, so all you have to do is to teach them the spin, counter shield, and create new combinations of attacks. So your reflexes and reactions have improved. All we need to do is to get some books at the next town so as to get some ideas and information so as to ready for anything, said Naruto. Sure thing, congrats on learning new moves, everybody. Let's keeping training to get stronger so that we can prove to everyone that we can win the Unova League, said Ash, to which the Pokemon cheered. Afterwards the group returned to the camp to rest. Well, Kit, these Pokemon show promise. I'm sure with the moves that you taught them, other trainers will have to be careful not to underestimate Ash and the others, said Kurama. Not only that, but to also be ready for the battles ahead, especially when it involves the legendary Pokemon, thought Naruto before going to sleep. The next morning, Ash and the gang were strolling along the road which is next to a river when they heard someone calling out to them. What? Please wait a moment, please. A girl called out as she ran to catch up with them when she tripped on a rock and stumbled towards them. Whoa, incoming! Naruto called out as he jumped out of the way, with Iris doing the same, but Ash and Sillin were too slow to react and ended up getting pushed into the river, to which Naruto and Kurama sweat dropped. Wow, I've never seen anyone being able to stumble that long a distance before, said Kurama, to which Naruto nodded. Later a fire was lit with Ash and Sillin in their underwear trying to warm up and the girl continuously muttering apologies, which was slowly beginning to irritate Naruto. It's okay now, could you tell us why you are here? Said Iris. Actually, I'm here to speak to Ash, said the girl, to which everyone had a look curiosity. Here, take a look. She held her transceiver to Ash and pressed a button, and the screen lit to show a woman. Hello, Professor Juniper, it's good to see you again, said Ash. Hello, Ash, how are the gym battles going for you? Said Professor Juniper. I was able to win a badge from Straighten City, said Ash. Well, about the badge, I want to apologize as I had forgotten to give you a badge case, so I gave it to Bianca to hand it to you. I hope to see you again soon, said Professor Juniper before the screen went off. That's right, my name is Bianca and it's nice to meet you, said the newly named Bianca. Anyway, let me give you the badge case. She began to search through her bag, which began to take along to the point that Ash and Sillin had their clothes dried and were still waiting. What kind of stuff does she have in that bag of hers that she is taking so long to search for the badge case? Thought Naruto, with Kurama nodding in agreement. Aha! I found it, said Bianca. Finally everyone thought. She brought out a case that covered in dirt, to which everyone's sweat dropped. Well, thanks for bringing my badge case, said Ash as he took the badge case and placed the trio badge in it. Now I have to get the rest of the badges from the other gyms. When you get all of the badges, then you're all set for the Unova League, said Iris. Hey, can I take a look at your badge, please? Said Bianca, to which Ash nodded and passed the case to Bianca, but no sooner had he handed it to her when a gray blur snatched the case from her hand. Everyone turned to see a furry gray Pokemon run off with the badge case in its mouth. Hey, let's go after it, said Naruto as he was about to pursue it when he was grabbed by Bianca in a bear hug. I've never seen a Pokemon that can talk before, said Bianca excitedly as she hugged Naruto tightly, making him turn blue. Sillin and Iris had to pry him off her while Ash chased after the Pokemon. We don't have time for this. Let's go get the badge case back. Then Naruto ran after Ash with the others close, and they found him hiding in the bush watching the Pokemon who was using its tail to clean the badge case. Bianca held out her Pokédex to scan the Pokemon. Minccino, the chinchilla Pokemon. Minccino loves shiny things and will use its tail as a brush to clean any objects that are dirty. Hey Kit, if this Pokemon was in our dimension, I'm sure it could clean up the disaster area which you call your room, said Kurama with a smirk. Get off my case, Kurama. It's not like I mess up the room on purpose, thought Naruto. Anyway, let's get th. Hold on. I'll get the badge case for as I want to catch that Minccino for myself, said Bianca as she runs into the clearing with a pokeball in hand. Now Pignite! Come on out for battle! She throws it to reveal a Pokemon that looks similar to Tepig but bigger and stands on 2 feet. Minccino grabbed the badge case its mouth before facing the new Pokemon. I guess that's Tepig's evolved form, said Ash as he brings out his Pokédex to scan the Pokemon. Pignite, the fire pig Pokemon and the evolved form of Tepig. Pignite's food converts into fuel for the flame that burns in its stomach, and when the fuel burns in its stomach, its speed increases. Now Pignite use Tackle, said Bianca. Pignite immediately charged in to slam into Minccino, who quickly leapt out of the way. That Minccino is quite fast, said Sillin, who was impressed with Naruto agreeing. Now use Flame Charge. Pignite charged at Minccino once again, this time while releasing flames from its body. Whoa, that's some serious fire power, said Naruto, who was surprised at seeing the move. Minccino dodged the move as well by jumping up to a tree branch, much to Bianca's annoyance, with Pignite mirroring the same. Kit, I have reasons to believe that this girl is an airhead, said Kurama, with Naruto agreeing. Minccino dropped the badge case and tucked in its large ears and took in a deep breath before letting out a scream which slammed into Pignite, who was about to perform another flame charge, stopping it in its tracks. That's Hyper Voice, and a very strong one, said Iris. Minccino then jumped onto Pignite and began using its tail to tickle Pignite, causing to laugh and unable to listen to Bianca, forcing her to call it back to its Pokeball. Then Ash stepped up to battle. Alright then, I guess I have to get the badge case myself. Now Pikachu, I chose, said Ash, but he was interrupted when Oshawott popped out of his Pokeball. Let me handle this guy, I can take him, said Oshawott. Naruto relayed the message to Ash, who nodded in consent. Alright, the Oshawott used Tackle. Oshawott dashed in at high speed and grazed Minccino, who could barely dodge the attack, and began to run with Oshawott close behind. Amazing, Oshawott's speed has improved since the battle with Trips, said Sillin. Okay, now use Raz. Oshawott use Hydro Pump, shouted Bianca, interrupting Ash and confusing Oshawott. What's with this girl? Said Naruto with gritted teeth. Oshawott can't use that move, now use Razor Shell, said Ash. Oshawott took out his Scalchop and channeled energy into it, and turned to attack Minccino, only to find it gone, and was attacked from behind by Minccino, who used Tickle and then slammed him twice with a glowing tail, forcing Ash to call it back. That was Tail Slap, a signature move for Minccino, said Iris. The Minccino grabbed the badge case and ran off. Now what do we do, Ash? Asked Naruto. Ash was about to reply when Bianca spoke up. I have an idea and it's perfect, said Bianca. She took a serving dome and a spoon, which she dirted much to Sillin's distress, and set up a trap in the clearing and hid in the bushes. With this, we can lure Minccino and then catch it. Then Minccino appeared, approaching the spoon, and proceeded to clean it when Bianca pulled on the rope, causing the serving dome to fall on the unsuspecting Pokemon. Bianca was about to cheer at her plan having worked when Minccino got up and walked off with the spoon and the serving dome, making everyone to sweat drop. That was the dumbest idea I've even seen, said Kurama. Please tell me you have a plan this time, Ash asked Naruto, who was at his wit's end. Yeah, and the best way is to battle. I've come up with a plan for that Pokemon, said Ash. Alright then, everybody follow me. I can sense Minccino close by, said Naruto as he ran off with the others close behind and led them to a stream where they saw Minccino sitting on the branch of a tree. Alright, Ash, it's all you. Right, Snivy, I choose you, said Ash, throwing out a Pokeball to summon Snivy. Minccino jumped to the ground to face them. Snivy, use Attract. That's a good plan since it will distract Minccino, said Sillin. Snivy launched heart-shaped projectiles at Minccino, who took cover behind the tree, and then launched heart-shaped projectiles of its own at her. What? Minccino knows Attract as well, said Iris, who along with the others was shocked as well. When the attack hit Snivy, she began to ogle at Minccino and a large tick mark appeared on Naruto's head. Kurama, why do I feel like performing the Uzumaki 2K barrage on that Minccino, thought Naruto with anger. Kurama didn't answer, as he was too busy trying to contain his laughter. Snivy returned, said Ash as he called the grass snake Pokemon back to her Pokeball. Okay, Pikachu, I'm counting on you. You got it, Ash, said Pikachu, running forward to face Minccino. Since Pikachu and Minccino are both male, Attract has no effect, which makes this an even battle, said Naruto, standing next to Sillin, Iris, and Bianca. Wow, I can't wait to see what other Pokemon Ash has, said Bianca excitedly. I'm curious to ask, what other Pokemon do you have? Asked Naruto. Just Pink Knight, and I've already won 2 badges plus I trained at home and began my journey just 2 weeks ago, said Bianca as if it's trivial while the others looked shocked. You see, my dad wouldn't let me leave because he was worried about me, she continued shyly. That describes an overprotective parent. Everyone shared the same thought. Alright, Pikachu, use Iron Tail, said Ash. Pikachu's tail took on a metal sheen and swung it at Minccino, who leapt away and began to run. Pikachu used Quick Attack to keep up. Pikachu dashed very quickly, easily keeping up with Minccino, much to its surprise. It seems all of Ash's Pokémon have undergone some serious training, said Sillin, with Naruto smiling proudly inwardly. Now use Iron Tail again. Pikachu attacked with his tail again, but Minccino fought back with Tail's slap, ending in stalemate. Whoa, that Minccino is good to be able to draw with Pikachu, as his Iron Tail is stronger than before, said Naruto, catching Bianca's attention. Minccino tucked in its ears and took in a deep breath and released a hyper voice at Pikachu. Time to use your new move, Elect Shield, then strike back with Thunderbolt, said Ash. Pikachu released electricity from his body and used it to form a dome around him, which protected him from the attack, and then launched a blast of lightning which struck Minccino, causing it to be stunned. Amazing! That is quite an exquisite recipe. I've never seen a move like that, said Sillin excitedly, with Iris agreeing while Bianca ran out to Ash. Ash, please wait, I'd like to capture it, said Bianca as she began to look through her bag to find a Pokeball. Not again. At this rate Minccino will recover and we'll have to start all over again, thought Naruto. Then Minccino recovered from the attack and began to run off when Bianca finally brought out a Pokeball which was dirty. I wonder why I'm not surprised that she has a dirty Pokeball, said Kurama. Probably because everything in her bag could be dirty, thought Naruto. That could be it, said Kurama. Immediately Minccino dashed to Bianca, leaping to her shoulder, and began to clean the Pokeball with its tail, causing the Pokeball to open and capture it. There was a moment of silence until Naruto broke it by saying, "That has to be the weirdest capture I've ever witnessed," with everyone agreeing. Later they went to a nearby Pokemon Center to heal their Pokemon when Bianca spoke up. "Hey Ash, I wish to challenge you to a Pokemon battle and I want to face your Pikachu," said Bianca. "Okay, you're on," said Ash. The group went to the battleground at the back of the Pokemon Center. "Okay Pikachu, I choose you." Pikachu ran out into the field. "Alright Pink Knight, it's time for battle," said Bianca, bringing out her Pokemon. "I don't know if Ash can beat Bianca since she has 2 badges," said Iris. "I wouldn't be so sure, as we have noticed that Ash's Pokemon have gotten a lot stronger, so this will be an interesting battle," said Sillin, looking attentively at the battle about to commence. "Pink Knight, use Takedown," said Bianca. Pink Knight charged at Pikachu, who leapt high into the air to avoid the attack. "Now use Heat Crash." Pink Knight jumped higher than Pikachu and descended quickly towards him while radiating fire. "Time for another new move, use Lightning Steel Tail," said Ash, much to the surprise of everyone except Naruto, who smirked at what is about to happen. Pikachu's tail took on a metal sheen, but this time has electricity coursing through his tail and swung at Pink Knight, which broke through the Heat Crash and inflicted heavy damage onto the Fire Pig Pokemon. The two landed on the ground with Pink Knight panting heavily. "Pink Knight, turn this around with Flame Charge," said Bianca. "Pikachu, use a Quick Attack plus Volt Tackle plus Iron Tail combo." Both Pokemon clashed with their attacks. It was stalemate until Pikachu broke through and sent Pink Knight bouncing along the ground until skidding to a stop, knocked out. "Amazing, I never thought that would have happened if you combine attacks, which makes a splendid recipe," said Sillin, while Naruto smiled at how Ash is getting better at battling. "That was a great battle, but the next time we meet, my Pokemon will be a whole lot stronger, so I'll see you later," said Bianca before taking off after recalling Pink Knight. "Wow, that girl is almost like Guy and Lee. I hope that she doesn't start muttering youth or I'll go nuts," thought Naruto with a bit of fear. "You and me both, Kit," said Kurama, feeling the same. "Alright guys, let's get going. Once we are over the mountain we'll be at Nakreen City," said Ash, as the gang prepped up and set off once more. Chapter 7, A Spook and a Battle at the Museum. After passing over a mountain, Naruto and the gang had finally arrived at Nakreen City. They were surprised to see that the buildings were designed in an artistic way. Even Naruto and Kurama had never seen such style back at their dimension. "Whoa, this place is quite colorful. I've never seen such designs like these before," said Naruto, who was looking around in awe. "I agree with Naruto here. I never seen such cool buildings before," said Iris excitedly. "The buildings are actually warehouses that owners lease to artists, which is why Nakreen City is known as the City of Art," said Sillin. You're right, there is art in every direction you look, said Iris, looking around along with Naruto. The city is also known for its style, hence it's also known as the City of Admiration, Sillin further explained. Naruto nodded in understanding as the place explains itself. Well, I'm here for one reason, and that's for a gym battle, said Ash, who was all ready to go. Well, the interesting thing is, the gym happens to be in the Naruhina City Museum, said Sillin. That sounds interesting. It must be cool to have a Pokemon gym in a museum. Well, let's go there and check the place out, said Naruto with excitement. With Ash and Pikachu agreeing, the group set out for their location, but when they arrived at their intended destination, they were surprised to see that the museum was closed. What gives? I thought with the place being a museum and a Pokemon gym that they would be open all the time, said Naruto. Then he looked over to see a poster hung beside the door. What's that over there? A secret artifacts exhibit? Iris read the title. But judging by the date, it's supposed to be open today, so why is the museum closed then? Said Sillin. Ash went to the door and knocked several times and tried opening it to discover that they were locked. Hello, is anybody around? He said, but they didn't hear anything until moments later there was a loud scream which startled them. What's that all about? Said Naruto. No sooner he said that than a man burst through the doors and fell to the ground. The group quickly rushed to the man. Excuse me, sir, but are you alright? Asked Sillin. The man pointed back at the hallway that he came from. In there, it's horrible, said the man with fear in his voice. The gang looked at the direction that he pointed only to see nothing in the hallway. I don't see anything, and you look like you were being chased, said Naruto. The man looked surprised at a Pokemon being able to talk but quickly replied. You were right about me being chased, as a dome fossil was right behind me, but it's strange as I don't see it anymore, he said as he got up to look at the empty hallway. Let's go in and check the place out, maybe we can find out what's going on, said Ash. They all entered with Pikachu running ahead with Naruto close behind. Here is the dome fossil, said Pikachu, pointing at an oddly shaped rock which is placed on top of a pedestal. I don't sense anything from it, Naruto, said Kurama. The fossil looks completely fine, said Sillin, turning to the man who was hiding in the hall. That's strange, as I'm sure that it was chasing me, said the man. Could you tell us about what happened and please leave out no details, said Sillin, to which the man nodded reluctantly. They went to sit at an outdoor restaurant so that they could hear the story. We were behind schedule on the preparations for the secret artifacts exhibition, so when they arrived, the workers and I rushed in putting the artifacts in display, so by the time we were done, it was late at night. After the workers left, I decided to stay behind to do some final checks on the artifacts when all of a sudden the lights went off and I began to hear footsteps and voices which frightened me. Then I saw a purple flame which chased me out of the museum. I called back the workers next morning to check up on the artifacts, but we didn't find anything. As the safety of the public is our #1 priority, we decided to postpone the opening of the exhibit. After the workers left, I went to check on the artifacts when that dome fossil chased me, said the man. And that's when we ran into you, said Sillin. Weird stuff happens a lot, said Ash, as he had such encounters in his past journeys. I agree with you, Ash, said Naruto, with Kurama nodding in agreement. A curse. It has to be a curse that has been cast upon the museum by an angry spirit, unless it is appeased, said Iris in a grim tone. That sounds scary, said Axu, who jumped from Iris' hair and onto Naruto's tails. You see? Even Axu agrees with me, said Iris. Why, you really believe that it is a curse? Asked the man fearfully. I don't think that this is something that we should overreact on. I'm sure that there is a rational explanation, and this is all a misunderstanding, said Sillin with a smirk. I'm sure we need to view this from a scientific perspective. Iris stared at Sillin in disbelief. If that's what you think, then why don't you see things from your point of view? Said Iris. Then I'll do just that, as this is a recipe I'm starting to like, said Sillin. What do you mean? Asked the man, who was confused. What they mean is that Iris will try to find out why there is an angry spirit in the museum, while Sillin will try to solve things from a scientific point of view, said Naruto with a deadpan expression. That way I see things. I don't think either of them is right or wrong, but we'll just be the neutral party, said Kurama, with Naruto agreeing. But what about my gym battle? Asked Ash, who was getting confused at what they were talking about. Ash, we can't have a gym battle until this mystery is solved, said Naruto, much to Ash's disappointment. Well, you can have your gym battle as Lenora isn't here at the moment, said the man. Ash and the group looked at him, wondering about the person he spoke of. I forgot that I didn't introduce myself. My name is Hawes and I am the co-curator of the museum, and when I refer to Lenora, I mean my wife, and she is also the Naruhina City gym leader. Whoa, that's awesome. My name is Ash and these are my partners Pikachu and Tokala, said Ash as Pikachu waved and Naruto responded with a yo. My name is Iris. And my name is Sillin. A Pokemon connoisseur, if you don't mind, may we have a look around your museum? Said Sillin, bowing to Hawes. Of course, as a matter of fact, I'll even give you a tour of the museum, so if you'll just follow me, said Hawes. Then he led the gang to the dome fossil. It is said that this fossil used to be a Kabuto, a shellfish Pokemon that is said have been living on our beaches as far as 300 years ago. Well, this sounds very far, said Ash. That's nothing compared to how long I've lived, said Kurama with pride. And how long would that be, Kurama? Asked Naruto with curiosity. Over 1,000 the last time I counted, said Kurama, who started to laugh at Naruto, who was stunned. Iris then ran to where a skeleton of a Pokemon was hung up in display and pointed excitedly at it. Wow, isn't that a Dragonite? Said Iris with stars in her eyes. You are right, as this is the skeletal model of a Dragonite, and it so happens to be the largest in the world, said Hawes while Naruto looked at it with interest. I hope to battle one of these dragon types, as I've heard that they are one of the strongest among other types. Don't you agree, Kurama? Thought Naruto. Me too, Kit, especially the ones that they call legendaries, so that we can see how much we can match up to them, said Kurama, nodding in agreement. Next on display was a rock which was behind a glass case. This here is a meteorite, said Hawes, pointing to the display. Which means that it came from space, said Sillin. Naruto looked at the meteorite and sensed energy radiating from it. It's just like the star from the Star Village. Before I destroyed it with the help of Subaru's mom's spirit, then they went to where suits of armor were propped up. Wow, these armor look so cool, said Ash with Pikachu agreeing. It's been said that people used to wear them back in the old days of the Unova region, said Hawes, while Naruto looked at them with a critical eye. They look like they put more emphasis on defense than speed, said Naruto. Then he turned to see what looks like a coffin. What's that over there, Hawes? The group went to where the coffin was displayed. The coffin, as well as the other artifacts, were found in the ruins. It's also been said that Kofagrigus have been seen there, but this coffin is a replica, said Hawes. Everyone were surprised except Iris, who was thinking deeply. Iris, what's the matter? Asked Naruto. I believe that this has something to do with the curse, said Iris. What makes you so sure about that? Asked Ash. It's my sixth sense that's telling me, said Iris. Which means that it is only a wild guess, said Sillin with a smirk. Iris looked ready to blow her had Axa not calmed her down. Hey Hawes, what's this? Asked Ash, pointing at a yellow mask behind a glass shelf. That's a Yamask's mask. They have also been known to be seen frequently ruins as well, although the mask is a replica, said Hawes. That mask gives me a bad feeling, said Iris, with Naruto having to agree, as he was having the same feelings. I can't help but feel that this mystery has something to do with that mask, thought Naruto. With the time that I've spent with you, Kit, every time that you have those feelings, they are usually spot on, so it's best that we keep an eye on it, said Kurama. Then the gang were led into a room where there was a lot of books, much to their amazement. This is the library where information about artifacts and other things are kept. Visitors are encouraged to read as much as they desire, and so this brings an end to the tour. So have you noticed anything so far? Said Hawes. I haven't. Everything checks out normal so far, said Sillin. There is something going on, but I can't seem to pinpoint it so far, said Iris. I think it would be a good idea if we slept in the museum tonight, said Naruto, which surprised Hawes. That's a great idea, as spirits are more active at night, said Iris. Indeed, and we can find out about any paranormal activities, said Sillin. Wow, I'm impressed that you kids would want to stay here for tonight, said Hawes. Later, as the group brought out their sleeping bags, he was still unsure or himself. Are you sure about this? What if we start hearing things at night? Then that's when we can figure out what's really going on, said Ash, with the others nodding in agreement. Then they slept. It was for a while when Naruto woke up due to chilling sensation coming over his body and noticed that Iris was awake as well. Hey Ash, wake up, said Naruto, shaking the boy awake with his tails. What is it? Asked Ash, rubbing his eyes along with Sillin waking up as well. I felt a chill crawl down my spine as if something is approaching us, and Naruto is feeling the same thing if I'm not wrong, said Iris, with Naruto nodding in agreement. I'm pretty sure that this is another wild guess, said Sillin. No, Iris is right on this, as I can feel something coming towards us, said Naruto. All of a sudden a thick purple fog appeared from the hallway, much to the alarm of the group and frightened Hawes, who had just woken up. What is that fog? Said Hawes, who was all panicky. It must be that the evil spirit is about to do something bad, said Iris. Relax, I'm pretty sure that it's the air conditioning that broke down, said Sillin. Then they heard a clatter of metal, and out of the fog appeared 2 suits of armor which was walking towards them. GG ghosts! Shouted Hawes. What do you have to say about that? Asked Iris. Well, it's obvious that someone is using strings, said Sillin, to which everyone's sweat dropped. Geez, not even your friend Shikamaru would produce such logic, said Kurama. The possessed armors drew there and prepared to attack. Pikachu used quick attack and Tokala used extreme speed, said Ash. The two Pokemon dashed towards the armors with Naruto striking first and Pikachu hitting his seconds later. The armors fell to pieces much to the relief of the others but were surprised to see the pieces put themselves back together. Oh great, this just like with the cursed warrior back at the land of birds, thought Naruto as he took a battle stance. Watch episode 162 on the anime. Okay then, Pikachu used Volt Tackle and Tokala used Rasengan, said Ash. The duo attacked once again and knocked down the armors, however two flames came out of them and combined to form a bigger one. Whoa, that thing feels hot, said Naruto who was close to it. Is that a ghostly aura? Asked Hawes. I'm pretty sure that it's an electrical discharge, and nothing more, said Sillin. The flame began to chase Hawes around much to his distress. Oshawott, come out and use water gun, said Ash, throwing out a Pokeball. The sea otter Pokemon appeared and launched a stream of water which put out the flame. A helmet from one of the armor began to levitate from amongst the collapsed pieces. Okay Sillin, what do you have to say about that? Asked Iris. It's just the reverse polarity of the magnetic field which is causing it to float, said Sillin. Then the helmet began to chase Hawes. Alright, that's enough, said Naruto. He quickly jumped at the floating helmet and struck it down with Crushed Claw. Thanks for the help, Tokala, said Hawes. No problem, but it seems to me that everything that to happen so far always seems to target you, Hawes. Any idea why? Said Naruto. No, I don't seem to recall doing anything that would make anyone mad at me, said Hawes. Kit, I can sense that he is telling the truth, said Kurama. Then all of a sudden, water began to drizzle from above them. Rain? How come? Said Ash. There must be something wrong with the sprinklers, said Sillin, but just as the drizzle had started then it stopped, much to the confusion of the group. All of a sudden, they heard crying and it was coming from the exhibition room. That must be the spirit crying and it sounds so sad, said Iris. No, I believe it to be sound waves which is coming from something that is squeaking, said Sillin. We don't have time for this. Let's go check out the source of that sound, said Ash as he called Oshawott back to his Pokeball. Then they headed towards the exhibition room where they found the source of the crying, which was coming from the Yamask's mask that was releasing tears, much to their surprise. I thought you said that the mask was a replica, said Naruto. I don't understand this either, said Hawes, who was just as confused. Relax, as what you see as tears is nothing more than condensation in the atmosphere, said Sillin. The mask floated in the air and began to smash itself against the glass. The spirit is in that mask, said Iris. You are wrong, it must be magnetically attracted to something, said Sillin. Soon they heard a thumping sound and turned to see that the Dragonite skeleton was walking towards them. Are you the angry spirit? Asked Iris. No, it must be controlled by, said Sillin, but he was interrupted by Naruto. Sillin, the things you are saying are now becoming unbelievable, he said. You're right, I'm even beginning not to believe myself, said Sillin sheepishly. They quickly jumped out of the way as the skeleton proceeded to punch the glass as if to get the mask. Pansage, come out and use Bullet Seed. Bringing out the simian Pokemon, who launched a barrage of seeds at the skeleton. There was a certain distortion before the skeleton collapsed into pieces. Kurama, did you see that? Thought Naruto. Yeah, the skeleton was controlled, and it must be related to what has happened so far, said Kurama. Is the mask alright? Asked Sillin. I'll go check on it, said Hawes as he went to open the glass screen, but no sooner had he done it than the mask floated out and latched itself onto Sillin's face. Ash and Iris tried to get the mask off, but the possessed Sillin pushed them away. Why did the mask target Sillin? Asked Ash. Maybe because the spirit was angry at Sillin for denying its existence, said Iris. And now you will be punished, said the possessed Sillin in a deep voice before he launched purple flames at them, although they managed to avoid them. Hey, why are you so angry? Asked Naruto. You locked the mask away, which was precious to me, said the possessed Sillin angrily. That mask is the genuine one, said a feminine voice. The group turned to see a dark-skinned woman with green hair standing at the hallway. Oh honey, I'm so glad that you're here, said Hawes happily. They immediately realized who he was talking about. Then you must be Lenora, said Iris. That's right, so where did you get the mask, Hawes? Asked Lenora. I believe it was yesterday when the workers and I were moving the artifacts from the truck to the exhibit room. I found the mask on the floor. I didn't order for a Yamask's mask, so I thought that it was a bonus gift, said Hawes. You should have known better than that, said Lenora, rubbing the bridge of her nose while Hawes rubbed his cheek sheepishly. The possessed Sillin controlled to the skeleton to attack again. Hey, isn't that enough? We now know what's going on, said Naruto, but it didn't listen. If that's the way you want it, go watchog, said Lenora, throwing out a Pokeball to summon a Pokemon which resembles a meerkat. It proceeded to emit light from the yellow striping on its body, almost blinding everyone. Ash took out his Pokédex to scan the new Pokemon. Watchog, the lookout Pokemon and the evolved form of Patrat. Watchog's body contains luminescent compounds, which allows its eyes and stripes to glow. Yamask, why don't you show yourself to us, said Lenora. The mask came off of Sillin's face and floated upwards to reveal a shadow-like Pokemon holding it. So it was a Yamask? Said Iris, who was surprised. Ash scanned the Pokemon as well. Yamask, the spirit Pokemon? Yamask is a ghost-type Pokemon that wanders the ruins of ancient civilization. Now I get it, Yamask must have been among the artifacts, but it dropped its mask by accident, which Hawes mistook for a replica, and when it woke up and saw it on the display case, Yamask thought that you stole it, and got angry at him, said Naruto, to which Yamask nodded in confirmation. But if you had simply let Hawes know that the mask was yours, none of this would have happened. Yamask blushed in embarrassment, and not thinking of the obvious solution. That explains everything. Yamask used Psychic to move the suits of armor and the fossil too. The purple fog was haze, said Sillin. The rain was rain dance, and the flames was will-o-wisp, said Ash. I told you that it was the work of a spirit, said Iris proudly. Not exactly, said Sillin with a smirk. Actually, either of you were right nor wrong about this, as everything that happened was because of a Pokemon, said Naruto with a foxy grin. Yamask, I want to apologize for the mistake I've made and hope that you would forgive me, said Hawes, stepping forward and bowing his head in apology, to which the spirit Pokemon nodded in affirmation. Later in the morning, the group stood in front of the museum as Yamask got ready to leave. Be sure to visit us again anytime, said Lenora. Yamask smiled before flying away. Wow, look at the sunrise, it marks a good morning, said Sillin. Which is perfect for a gym battle, said Ash. So you're here to challenge my gym? Asked Lenora. That's right, my name is Ash from Pallet Town, and I'm here for the Unova League, said Ash excitedly. Well, I've always been interested in the battle styles of my challengers, and I'm looking forward to seeing yours, said Lenora with a smile. Kit, this woman seems to be the type to use strategies to confuse opponents, as well as disrupt the plans of others, said Kurama. I can tell just by looking at her. I hope that Ash can pull through with this, thought Naruto before following them back into the museum. Later the group followed Lenora and Hawes to a door which they hadn't seen before, where Hawes inputted some codes on the keyboard to open the door. This room is sealed off to the general public. Only researchers and other people are allowed to gain access to it, said Hawes. They continued until they entered a room which has a lot of books and shelves. In this room, there are books and research material where one needs special permission in order to read, as they contain important information about Unova as well as other things, said Lenora. Just like the scrolls that were sealed in the vault at the Hokage's office, thought Naruto. Indeed, as such information were to fall into the wrong hands could cause trouble for a lot of people, said Kurama. Alright then, Ash, I'd suggest that you would read a little about the history of the Unova region before our battle, said Lenora. Ash looked confused, but Naruto looked at Lenora with a stern gaze as he immediately realized the meaning behind her words. She must be testing Ash, so see his reaction, as most strategies come from one's personality, thought Naruto before walking towards Ash. But the thing is, I didn't come here to read but for a gym battle, said Ash. Which is why I brought you here, as this room grants access to researchers and gym battle challengers. After all, knowledge contributes in a Pokemon battle, said Lenora, walking to a bookshelf. I would recommend reading this book, pointing to a book. Ash was about to repeat his earlier statement when he felt a poking at his leg, looking down to see Naruto staring back at him. Remember what I told you earlier before, Ash, said Naruto. Ash thought deeply before he remembered what Naruto had taught him during his training. Look underneath the underneath. Then this means that Lenora is giving me some sort of test before the gym battle. Let's see if I can figure this out, Ash thought. Then he approached the book that Lenora pointed at. You said this book, right? When he pulled it out, Ash heard a click and turned to see two bookshelves separate to reveal a staircase descending. What is down there? That is the way to the battlefield, and I'm impressed that you were able to find the way to it so quickly, said Lenora. Well, I was taught by someone that I shouldn't take things at face value and that I should view things from a different perspective, so I figured that you were testing me from the very beginning, although I had to be reminded, said Ash, who took a sidelong glance at Naruto, smiling at him. That person must have good insight, and you were right that I was testing you. Most trainers tend to view things in different ways. Some try to read books that catch their interest, while others read books with lesser pages so that could get to the gym faster, even when I show them the fastest way to the gym, said Lenora. Why do you do that? Asked Sillin. Because it allows me to see what kind of trainer I would be facing, said Lenora. So what kind of trainer do you think Ash is? Asked Iris. Ash is someone who approaches aggressively and at the same time moves spontaneously. I wish to see what kind of style he has on the field, said Lenora. I'm pretty sure that's easy to predict, said Hawes. I wouldn't be so sure about that. After all, Ash and I are alike in a lot of ways, thought Naruto, smirking. That's true, since the both of you can be unpredictable when it comes down to it. All I can say is that she is in for a surprise, said Kurama, who was smirking as well. The group went downstairs and came upon the site of the battlefield. Alright then, let's the show on the road, said Ash excitedly. Don't you think you should research on the type of gym leader I am? Like the Pokemon that I'll be using today, said Lenora, throwing out a Pokeball to summon a familiar Pokemon. I believe that both of you have met? Of course, I knew that you would choose Watchog today, said Ash, looking at the lookout Pokemon. And this is my second Pokemon, said Lenora, throwing another Pokeball to call out another Pokemon. Ash brought out his Pokédex to scan the new Pokemon. Herdier, the loyal dog Pokemon, and the evolved form of Lillipup. Herdier's hard black fur softens its opponent's attacks like armor. Ash then searched through the Pokédex for its pre-evolved form. Lillipup, the puppy Pokemon. The long hair covering Lillipup's face is an excellent radar, which senses conditions in the surrounding area. Normal-type Pokemon are perfect for battling as they can use a lot of attacks, unlike the other Pokemon that are bound to a certain type, which allows me to react to any strategy that a trainer would use against me, said Lenora. That would make sense, but that it doesn't exactly bother us since you would soon gain access to the other elements, said Kurama, to which Naruto nodded in agreement. Alright, Hawes, could you explain the rules to our young trainer? Said Lenora. Alright, dear, in this gym the trainer and gym leader are allowed to use 2 Pokemon. Victory will go to who is able to render his or her opponent's Pokemon unable to battle, and both sides are allowed to substitute at any time during the battle, said Hawes. A 2-on-2? I thought it would be a 3-on-3 like the other gyms? Said Naruto, who was confused. There are different rules in different gyms so as to test the trainer's ability to adapt, said Sillin. Alright, I get it now, said Naruto. Then he approached Ash. Yo, Ash, I'll be backing out of this battle. Why, Naruto? Asked Ash. I want to see how a gym leader battles and I want to see the results of your training, said Naruto. Alright then, Pikachu, I want you to go with Naruto as I won't be using you today, said Ash. Alright, Ash, said Pikachu before jumping onto Naruto's back. Then they went to the stands to watch the battle. Well then, shall we begin? Asked Lenora. Of course, said Ash. Then they went to opposite sides of the battlefield. The Nakreen Gym battle between Lenora, the gym leader, and Ash, the challenger from Pallet Town, is about to begin. The challenger has the first move and so battle begin, said Hawes. Pokemon Black OST, Battle Gym Leader. Herdier, go, said Lenora, throwing out the Pokeball to call out her Pokemon. Alright then, Tepig, I choose you, said Ash, calling on his Fire Pig Pokemon. Okay, I'm rearing to go, said Tepig, looking determined. Tepig, use Tackle, said Ash. Tepig sped forward and slammed into Herdier, sending it skidding back, much to the surprise of Lenora. Wow, that's fast and strong. Herdier, use Roar, said Lenora. Herdier let out a roar which sent Tepig back into its Pokeball, surprising Ash and Naruto. Then one of his Pokeballs opened to release Oshawott into the field. Huh? Why am I here? Asked Oshawott, who was confused. What kind of move was that? Asked Naruto, looking at Sillin. Roar is a move that forces you to switch your Pokemon out with a random Pokemon, said Sillin. Now I'll switch my Pokemon, said Lenora, calling back Herdier. Watchog, come out and use Mean Look, throwing out a Pokeball to summon her next Pokemon. Watchog's eyes glowed purple and Oshawott's body glowed purple as well before fading away. Now what move is that, as I don't see any kind of damage, said Naruto. Mean Look is move that prevents your Pokemon from being switched out until the battle is over, said Sillin. Forcing your opponent to switch and then forcing the next Pokemon to stay in battle, this kind of combination can rattle any normal trainer. I hope that Ash can recover from this, said Kurama worriedly. I'm sure he can handle it, otherwise this wouldn't be a challenge, as we might meet someone who would use any of these moves, thought Naruto. Meanwhile, Ash was shaken at first before he closed his eyes and took a deep breath to relax his nerves. Then he called out to Oshawott, it's okay, Oshawott, let's get through this and we'll be fine. Seriously? Thought Oshawott, who wasn't pleased at being called out before his time. Lenora was surprised at Ash's reaction, as most trainers would begin to panic after her combination. He keeps getting more interesting, she thought. Oshawott, use Water Gun, said Ash. Oshawott launched his attack half-heartedly, which annoyed Naruto, and made a mental note to lecture the sea otter Pokemon after the battle. Dodge and use low kick, said Lenora. Watchog sidestepped the attack and quickly sped towards Oshawott and knocked him off his feet, causing him to fall on his head before speeding back to Lenora with its arms crossed and a smirk on its face. Oshawott, are you okay? Ash called out worriedly. That guy is so gonna get it, said Oshawott, chuckling evilly, which sent a chill down Watchog's spine. If that's all you have, then I'll have to end it. Watchog used Thunderbolt, said Lenora. Watchog launched an arc of lightning at Oshawott. Deflected with your Scalchop, said Ash. Oshawott took out his Scalchop and with one hand smacked the attack aside with a smirk, which surprised Watchog and Lenora. I wasn't serious before, but now I'm gonna show you what I'm really made of, said Oshawott. I've never seen a water-type Pokemon defend against an electric-type attack like that before. Now I'm impressed, said Lenora. Oshawott, getting close, said Ash. Oshawott sped towards his opponents in a zigzag pattern to confuse them, just like Naruto taught him. Well, that's fast, but if they want close combat, then respond with low kick, said Lenora. Watchog ran towards Oshawott to attack. I was expecting you to do that, said Ash with a smirk, which confused Lenora, but Naruto grinned, knowing what is coming up next. Oshawott jumped above Watchog and used Water Gun. Right as Watchog kicked at Oshawott, he jumped and launched a powerful stream of water at his opponent, slamming it to the ground and sent himself into the air. As you descend, use Razor Shell. Oshawott took out his shell and channeled energy into it to form a blade before diving towards Watchog to attack. Watchog, use your tail to knock away Oshawott's Scalchop, said Lenora. Watchog spun on its back and used its tail to send the Scalchop flying off Oshawott's hand. Without the Scalchop, Oshawott can't defend itself. Use Thunderbolt. Watchog launched its attack at Oshawott. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Oshawott, dodge it, said Ash. Oshawott rolled out of the way of the attack. Watchog tried again, but he dodged again by flipping into the air. Watchog was starting to get frustrated as Oshawott kept dodging by flipping or rolling out of the way. How is Oshawott able to move like that? Asked Iris with Sillin, wondering the same until Naruto spoke up. That would be because I taught him how to evade, and he is not the only one, Ash, and I also taught the other Pokemon different styles of evading. There is more to a battle than simply attacking, said Naruto. That's enough. Watchog used Confuse Ray, said Lenora. Watchog launched several orbs of light towards Oshawott. I remember Ash telling me that Confuse Ray can cause your Pokemon to lose focus in battle, said Naruto, with Iris and Sillin confirming the statement. Alright then, Oshawott, spin and use Water Gun, said Ash. Oshawott spun on his back and released streams of water which whipped around him to form a barrier. It blocked the orbs and proceeded to damage Watchog, much to the surprise of everyone on the field. What is that? Said Lenora. That move is called Counter Shield. It allows my Pokemon to use its attacks to serve as a form of defense as well as offense at the same time. I created this move when I was battling against the Hardhome gym leader back at the Sinnoh region to defend against her Pokemon's hypnosis, said Ash with a smile. It's quite similar to the 8 trigrams rotation of the Hyuga clan, said Kurama, with Naruto agreeing. After knocking Watchog back, Oshawott flipped backwards and picked up his Scalchop, which was close to him, surprising Lenora. This whole time I was having Oshawott get close to his Scalchop while preventing you from catching on, said Ash with a smirk. That was quite a strategy, but it's not over yet. Watchog used Thunderbolt, said Lenora. Watchog, who was panting heavily from exhaustion and the damage it received, launched its attack. Oshawott grinned and grabbed his Scalchop, and Ash caught on and knew what he wanted. From the stand, Naruto saw it as well and grinned. It's over for Watchog, said Naruto. Iris and Sillin looked at him questionably since Oshawott had been dodging those attacks. Watchog is now too tired to dodge this next attack. Time for a new move. Oshawott used Aqua Shell Shuriken, said Ash. Much to everyone's surprise, Oshawott channeled energy into his Scalchop, which took on the form of a throwing star. Then he threw it at the Thunderbolt, which it absorbed and struck Watchog, knocking it out, and it returned to Oshawott, who caught with a smile on his face. How do you like that? Said Oshawott. Watchog is unable to battle, therefore Oshawott is the winner, said Hawes. Those were pretty good strategies. You completely took me by surprise, said Lenora as she called Watchog back to its Pokeball. But this is where I get serious. Go Herdier. Then called out on her last Pokemon. We'll see then, said Ash, calling Oshawott as the effects of the mean look had worn off. Tepig, I choose you. Once summoning the Fire Pig, who still had the look of determination despite being forced out of the battle early. Tepig, use Ember. Tepig launched sparkles of flame at Herdier. Herdier, use Protect, said Lenora. Herdier produced a green barrier to deflect the attack. If that's the case, use Tackle, said Ash. Tepig dashed forward at high speed at Herdier. Not this time, Herdier used Shadow Ball, said Lenora. Herdier launched several black orbs at Tepig. He tried to dodge, but he got hit by several, sending him back, but was able to recover to his feet. Since Tepig was too close to Herdier, he wasn't able to dodge most of the attacks. If that's the case, thought Ash, Tepig used Tackle again. Much to the surprise of everybody, Tepig dashed at Herdier again. Has Ash forgotten that Tepig can't dodge at close range? Said Iris. He hasn't forgotten, it's just that he has a plan for it. Just watch, said Naruto, looking at the battle. You must be desperate. Herdier used Shadow Ball again, said Lenora. Herdier launched another volley of the orbs at the approaching Tepig. Now Tepig use Ember, said Ash. Tepig released sparkles of flames at the orbs, leading to an explosion, and black smoke covered the field. Everyone thought Tepig got hit when a blur burst out of the smoke and slammed into Herdier, which revealed to be Tepig. How? I thought Tepig got hit, said Lenora, who was confused. What the Shadow Ball hit was Tepig's Ember canceling each other out, and allowed his tackle to make contact, said Ash with a smirk. That's quite an interesting recipe, said Sillin, who was impressed. That's Ash's true battle style, to be unpredictable and to keep his opponent from catching on, and to always keep them guessing, said Naruto. I'm pretty sure that any strategy that Lenora came up was disrupted with the way Ash battles, said Kurama with a foxy grin, which was being mirrored by Naruto. It's time to end this, Herdier. Use Giga Impact, said Lenora. Herdier released energy from its body and dashed at Tepig. That is one of the strongest move among normal type attacks. However, she just made a big mistake. I just hope that Tepig can pull through this, thought Ash. Tepig used Flame Charge and combine it with Ember. Tepig charged at Herdier while covered in fire, which grew bigger when he combined his second attack. Both Pokemon collided with their attacks and there was an explosion. When the smoke cleared, they were still standing but were exhausted. However, it was easy to see that Herdier was more tired between the two. You made a big mistake, Lenora, said Ash. What do you mean? Asked Lenora. Giga Impact is a powerful move, but the user has to recharge, so right now Herdier can't move, said Ash, much to Lenora's shock at the mistake that she made, which was why I had Tepig use that combination move to match up. So Tepig finished this with a full power tackle. Tepig dashed at faster than ever before and slammed into Herdier with all his might, sending it crashing into the wall, knocked out. Herdier is unable to battle. Tepig is the winner, therefore the winner of the match is Ash the challenger, said Hawes. Song end. Alright, way to go, Tepig, you were amazing, said Ash, running out to meet the fire pig with Naruto, and the others flowing close behind. That was an amazing battle, Ash, said Iris. Indeed, the recipe which you cooked up was 4 stars, said Sillin. Looks at that, training has paid off, said Naruto with a smile. That's my buddy, said Pikachu, happily jumping to Ash's shoulder. They are right, your battle strategies were perfect to even be able to confuse me, which takes a lot to do so, said Lenora, walking towards. She is right, your tactics completely took us off guard, said Hawes. Anyway, here is the basic badge. Congratulations, said Lenora, hold out the badge. Thanks, said Ash, taking the badge. Alright, we got the basic badge. Striking a pose. We did it, said Pikachu, doing a victory sign. Believe it, said Naruto, raising a paw into the air while Kurama looked on, shaking his head in amusement. Later, the group were checking on Ash's Pokemon egg at the Pokemon Center. Your Pokemon egg is in a healthy condition and will be hatching soon, said Nurse Joy. Thanks, Nurse Joy, said Ash before leaving the center with the others. I don't think I'll be able to get over the fact that there is more than 10 people who goes by the name Nurse Joy, Officer Jenny, or Don George, thought Naruto. You and me both, Kit, said Kurama, who was just as confused. Outside the center, Sillin was checking on his electronic map. So what's our next stop? The next gym is located at Castelia City, so that's where we are headed, said Sillin. Then let's go, said Ash, taking the lead out with the others following. Let's what else this journey has for us, thought Naruto. Chapter 8, The Wild Child and Getting Bugged. It has been a couple of days since Ash's victory at the Nakering Gym, and the gang are on their way to his third gym battle, which is at Castelia City. Ash was quite proud of himself for his win against Lenora thanks to Naruto's training, and promised not to make the same mistakes that he made in his previous journeys at the other regions. Naruto hadn't forgotten to lecture Oshawott for not having taken his battle seriously at first, as it would have resulted in his loss, to which the sea otter Pokemon looked embarrassed to the amusement of the other Pokemon. Along the way, the gang decided to take a break and rest before continuing along the road. Iris had gone to enjoy the view from the top of a cliff. Sillin was looking through his backpack and making sure that all of his belongings were well organized, Ash and Pikachu were looking at the badge case, which currently contains the trio badge and the basic badge. Only 2 down and 6 more to go, so let's make it happen, Pikachu said, Ash looking at his longtime partner. Yeah, let's go all the way, said Pikachu happily. Meanwhile, Naruto was sitting at the top of a hill meditating while talking to Kurama. Have you found anything about my elemental forms as well as my chakra system, Kurama? Asked Naruto to the 9-tailed fox within the mindscape. What I have gathered so far is that the process at which your new body is adapting to our bonded chakra is very slow and would have taken a couple of months before it's complete, said Kurama. Naruto frowned slightly as he could understand that it would take some time before his new body could use their chakra. However, I've noticed that when you first accessed the combo mode, it somehow made our chakra flow through your body a bit more easily. Naruto raised an eyebrow at what his tenant said before, realizing what he meant. So you mean that if I access my other forms, then it would reduce the time needed for my body to adapt to our chakra? Am I right so far? Asked Naruto while looking at the orbs hovering above them, 2 of which are glowing and the rest are still colorless. That's correct, and you should also know that your other forms will only get the chakra cloak, which is a minor enhancement, but only in your polymorph form can you truly use our chakra to its full potential as it's your true form, said Kurama, to which Naruto nodded in understanding. Thanks for the info, Kurama. I have to get back to the others, so I'll see you later, said Naruto before fading away from the mindscape, while Kurama laid down to take a nap. Naruto opened his eyes and then walked back to the group and noticed the Aksu was crawling around the bags. Aksu, what are you doing? I was just looking through to see if there is anything fun for me to play with, said Aksu while still crawling around the bags. Okay, then just be careful not to break anything as it would upset Ash and the others, said Naruto, to which Aksu nodded in affirmation. He turned to approach the others but heard Aksu calling out to him. Big bro, Ash's egg is glowing. It's glowing, shouted Aksu excitedly. Naruto quickly ran to the others to alert them. Yo Ash, there's something going on with your egg as it's glowing, said Naruto. Ash quickly got up and ran to the egg, which was kept in an incubator, and saw that it was glowing just as Naruto said. Do you know what this means? Said Iris excitedly as Ash removed the egg from the incubator and placed it on the ground. It means that the egg is about to hatch soon, said Sillin. I can't wait to see what kind of Pokemon will hatch, right Pikachu? Said Ash, to which Pikachu nodded excitedly. Aksu drew close to the egg and looked at it curiously. Oh yeah, you have never seen a Pokemon egg hatch before, said Iris. The same could be said for me too, said Naruto, paying close attention to the egg. I too am curious to see this as well, said Kurama, looking through Naruto's senses. Well, Pikachu and I have taken care of Pokemon eggs before, said Ash, remembering his time with Phanpy and Larvitar. I hope to hear more about it later on, said Naruto. You should be excited, Aksu. You're about to become a big brother, said Iris happily. Really? Yeah, I'm going to be a brother, said Aksu, dancing around happily. Aksu, be careful as you're too close to the egg, said Naruto, but he said the warning too late as Aksu's tail accidentally pushed the egg, causing it to roll down a nearby hill, much to everyone's shock. Catch that egg. The gang quickly pursued the runaway egg, which was slowly picking up speed due to the slope. Then the egg went into a bush and was flung into the air after landing on a large leaf. Pikachu, jump onto my tails. The lightning mouse quickly complied and jumped onto Naruto's tails, who proceeded to fling him into the air. Pikachu was able to catch the egg, then Naruto quickly dashed to where Pikachu would land and used his tails to serve as a landing cushion. Pikachu, is the egg okay? The egg is totally fine, said Pikachu after closely examining the egg. Then the gang arrived with Ash looking grateful, Sillin looking relieved, and Iris with Aksu looking apologetic. Great job, you two, said Ash happily. I'm really sorry about that, said Iris. Yeah, me too, said Aksu, but Ash waved it off. It's not a problem as there was no harm done, and the egg is totally fine, said Ash. After Pikachu placed the egg on the ground, it began to again even more brightly as everyone knelt closer. It's about to hatch, said Sillin. There was a bright flash of light, and then it faded to reveal a Pokemon standing before them, a lizard-like Pokemon with a yellow skin around its legs resembling trousers. Yo Ash, scan with your Pokédex to see what kind of Pokemon this is, said Naruto. Ash brought out his Pokédex and pointed it at the newly born Pokemon. Scraggy, the shedding Pokemon. The lower half of Scraggy's body is covered by a rubbery skin, and when someone makes eye, it responds with headbutt. Hello there, my name is Ash and this is my buddy Pikachu, said Ash, kneeling before the newborn Pokemon with Pikachu standing beside him waving in greeting. But when Scraggy set his eyes upon Pikachu, he began to glare at him, much to the surprise of everyone. He's using Leer, said Sillin. Then Scraggy reared his head back and tried to slam it into Pikachu, who quickly dodged it and sent him tumbling to the ground, and that was headbutt. But why is he doing that? Said Ash, who was confused. I believe that everybody is wondering the same thing, said Naruto, with everybody nodding in agreement except Kurama, who decided to take a nap within the mindscape. Why did you use headbutt? Does it mean that you want to battle? Asked Ash. Scraggy looked surprised for a minute before taking a sidelong glance at Pikachu, which made the said Pokemon feel uncomfortable. If so, then Pikachu, how about you battle Scraggy as a welcome gift? Pikachu stared at Ash with a look that said, are you serious? Later the two Pokemon faced off at a clearing for their battle. Let's what kind of moves Scraggy has? Ash scanned Scraggy with his Pokédex. Scraggy's moves are Leer and Headbutt. Only 2 moves? Said Iris, who was surprised. Why should this surprise you? As I recall, Axu only knows Scratch and Dragon Rage, said Naruto, looking at the duo, who blushed in embarrassment. Don't forget that Scraggy had just hatched, said Sillin. Okay then, Scraggy use Leer, said Ash. Scraggy ran up to Pikachu and glared at him. Although it had no effect, it didn't seem to do a thing. Alright then, use Headbutt. Scraggy reared his head back and slammed into Pikachu, which did not even cause him to budge. Nothing at all. Okay, Pikachu used Thunderbolt, but at a low setting. Pikachu gathered a small amount of electricity and flicked it at Scraggy, who was sent tumbling back, much to the surprise of everyone. I can understand that Scraggy had just hatched, but that amount of electricity could barely light up a light bulb, said Naruto, looking on in disbelief with Kurama still asleep. Scraggy, are you okay? Asked Ash worriedly. Scraggy got up and started stomping the ground as if having a tantrum. Even after all that, Scraggy still looks rearing to go, said Sillin. That's my kind of Pokemon, the kind that never gives in until he finally wins, said Ash excitedly. Or more like too stubborn to quit, but I have no right to say that since I used to be like that when I was younger, said Naruto. I don't know, Axu, but I think that your brother is becoming a pain, said Iris, with Axu agreeing. Ash took out his Pokeballs and threw them into to summon the other team members. Hey everyone, I would like you to meet our new friend Scraggy, so say hello, said Ash, presenting Scraggy before them. Pidove approached Scraggy to greet him, only to receive a headbutt, causing her to freak out and run off. I don't think Pidove was expecting that, said Sillin, who sweat dropped. Oshawott was the next to approach Scraggy. Hey, it's nice to meet you, said Oshawott, but he got glared at, and also received a headbutt, which angered him. Hey, I'm trying to be friendly with, and this is the response I get. Pikachu and Tepig tried to separate them, but he shook them off and ran back. But Scraggy knocked off Oshawott's Scalchop and stepped on it. Hey! Get your foot off my Scalchop! The Sea Otter wrenched his Scalchop and smacked Scraggy on the head with it, sending him tumbling back to Ash. Scraggy, are you okay? Asked Ash, but Scraggy stubbornly got up and charged at Oshawott and hit him with a headbutt, which was ineffective. Oshawott launched a water gun at Scraggy, but he quickly raised his pants to block the attack, but was sent skidding back due to the force and ended up being close to Tepig. That's an interesting way to defend against an attack, said Naruto, with Sillin nodding in agreement. Scraggy turned to see Tepig and proceeded to headbutt him as well. Oh man, Scraggy is attacking everything in sight, said Ash, who was at the end of his rope. One can admire his spirit, but I don't think that would matter, right? As we can see that Scraggy is getting dizzy from all those headbutts, said Sillin, with Iris giggling as they watched Scraggy stumble around until he saw Snivy sitting on a rock. He tried to hit her but ended up colliding with the rock as she had gracefully jumped out of the way. He tried again, but Snivy used her vines to hold him at bay. What a child, said Snivy, looking at the futile attempts of the newborn Pokemon before pushing him away from her. Scraggy got up, looked at Axel, who quickly hid in Iris' hair, and was about to walk off to challenge Snivy again, but found himself held in the air while wrapped in tails and turned to see the white fox with black archaic markings on his body. Haven't you had enough, kid? You're going to get yourself hurt at this rate, said Naruto. Scraggy merely scoffed. I don't care, as long as I show you how strong I am by beating all of you, said Scraggy. Naruto shook his head at the naivety of the Pokemon. I'm telling you this because you might get yourself into serious trouble with that attitude, and I don't want to see you get hurt, said Naruto before setting Scraggy down and walking off, leaving Scraggy to his thoughts. Later in the day, as the sun was setting, the gang were eating with the exception of Scraggy, who was sitting on a rock away from the others, which made a concerned Ash to approach him. Scraggy, why don't you come and eat with the others? Asked Ash, but Scraggy turned his back to him. I just have no idea about what Scraggy is thinking, said Iris. Scraggy must be frustrated at him for having lost to the rest of Ash's Pokemon, said Sillin. Is that true, Scraggy? Asked Ash, but Scraggy continued to ignore him. The kid should understand that right now he's too weak to fight against anyone, as he had just recently hatched, said Kurama. True, and I just hope that he is considering what I had told him earlier before, thought Naruto. Later in the evening, everyone were getting their sleeping bags out to sleep for the night. Ash turned to see Scraggy eating the Pokemon food which they had left for him to eat in case he was hungry. Look, Scraggy is finally eating Pokemon food, said Ash. Not if only he would eat with the others, said Iris, with Axel agreeing as he wanted to get to know Scraggy better. Anyway, Ash, get Scraggy into his Pokeball so that he can rest, said Naruto. Ash nodded in agreement, and brought the Pokeball and turned to see the said Pokemon hiding, clearly refusing to enter his Pokeball. Maybe Scraggy wants to remain outside a bit longer since he had hatched, said Sillin. Why do I have the feeling that something bad is going to happen? Thought Naruto. Whenever you have that feeling, it's usually on the mark, said Kurama before going to sleep. Later that night, when everyone was sleeping, Naruto was woken up by Axel, who was looking worried. Axel, what's the matter? Asked Naruto, rubbing his eyes to become more awake. I woke up to check on Scraggy and I found that he's gone, said Axel. Naruto quickly got up and woke the others, then they started their search for the baby Pokemon. Have you located him yet, Naruto? Asked Ash. I hadn't the time to recognize Scraggy's chakra signature, so we have to look for him the old-fashioned way, said Naruto. Hey guys, look, said Iris, pointing at a trail on the ground. It must be Scraggy's tracks. Quick, let's follow it. The gang quickly traced the trail until they found Scraggy standing in front of a large tree and was headbutting it. Hey Scraggy, what are you doing over there? Said Ash. Scraggy turned to look at the others but was surprised when a Pokemon closely resembling a tarantula appeared from behind the tree. Oh no, it's Galvantula, said Iris. Axa hid in her hair in fright upon seeing the bug/electric-type Pokemon. Ash brought out his Pokédex to scan the new Pokemon. Galvantula, the Elespider Pokemon. Galvantula attacks its prey by shooting electrically charged threads, and its front mandibles can hold down opponents. This is bad, said Sillin. If Scraggy get bitten by Galvantula, said Iris. Ash, Pikachu and Naruto quickly ran towards Scraggy to get him away from the bug Pokemon. Scraggy was frightened as Galvantula approached him, then he glared and reared his head back as he prepared to headbutt the Pokemon. This is my chance to prove to everyone how strong I am, he thought. Scraggy, don't provoke it, yelled Naruto, but it was too late as Galvantula immediately launched an electro ball which sent him flying back and then launched an electro web. Scraggy closed his eyes ready for the impact which didn't come. He opened his eyes to see that he was standing next to Ash and Naruto was hit with the attack which paralyzed him. Then he was hit with Poison Sting which poisoned him as well, causing Naruto to collapse to the ground. Galvantula was about to fire off another electro ball when Ash quickly called out. Pikachu used Thunderbolt to scare off Galvantula, said Ash. Pikachu immediately shot an arc of electricity which hit the bug Pokemon, scaring it off. They ran to Naruto, who was on the ground with his body convulsing from the poison and paralysis. Is there any Pokemon Center close to us, Sillin? Sillin shook his head in negative, then Iris spoke up. Don't worry, Axa and I can find some herbs that can cure him, so just wait for a little bit, said Iris before she took off to the woods. Meanwhile, Scraggy was looking at Naruto while feeling guilty at having ignored the warning that he was given. Meanwhile, Iris and Axa had found the herbs needed to cure Naruto of the poison and paralysis and ran back to mix them. After preparing the medicine, they made Naruto consume the mixture which he found bitter to taste. After a while he stopped convulsing and was able to sleep peacefully. I'm sure he will be back to normal in the morning, the others nodded before going to their sleeping bags. Meanwhile, Scraggy was lost in thought about what had happened. Meanwhile, in the mindscape, Kurama was berating Naruto for the reckless action he took to save the newborn Pokemon. Damn it, Naruto, did you really have to take the hit? You could have used extreme speed to get him out of there. I'm sorry about that, Kurama. My body just moved on its own to help as I didn't want Scraggy to get hurt, although I was surprised that I could perform the substitution technique again, said Naruto, looking apologetic. Kurama signed before looking at Naruto with a smile. But then again, you wouldn't be you if you hadn't done that, which is one of the reasons why we are partners, said Kurama, to which Naruto gave him a foxy grin before the both of them went to sleep with Naruto on top of his head. The next morning, Naruto woke up feeling completely fine and the others were waiting for him to wake up. Naruto, are you okay now? Asked Ash. Yeah, I'm totally fine now. What happened after I lost consciousness? Asked Naruto. When you were out, Iris and Axa picked up herbs and mixed them for you to take in to cure you of the poison and paralysis, said Sillin. Naruto turned to them and smiled. Thanks for the help, guys. I'm grateful for it, said Naruto. Don't mention it. I wanted to ask about that move that you used to switch places with Scraggy before he almost got hit, said Iris, with the rest wondering the same thing. The move that I used yesterday is called Substitute, which enables me to switch places with an object, or if I try hard enough, a Pokemon as well, said Naruto. That's different from the substitute that we know, as the Pokemon uses half their energy to create a dummy to serve as a substitute, said Sillin. Speaking of which, where is Scraggy? Asked Naruto, looking around. Everybody looked around as well and were unable to find him. Could he have gone back to where Galvantula are? But why? Said Iris. He must have been feeling guilty for Naruto getting hurt, and wants to get back at them, said Sillin. Ash quickly called on his Pokemon from their Pokeballs. Hey guys, I need you help out Scraggy. They nodded in affirmation and took off with Naruto in the lead. When they reached the tree, they saw Scraggy surrounded by several Galvantula. Okay everyone, let's get in there and help out the kid, said Naruto. They all dashed in. Pikachu quickly shot out a thunderbolt to strike down a Galvantula that was about to jump at Scraggy from behind, which drew the attention of the rest. One Galvantula shot out an Electro Ball, but Tepig released an Ember attack to cancel it out. Another launched an Electro Web at Oshawott, who took out his Scalchop to form a Razor Shell. Then he took an II stance and sped forward, leaving the web and Galvantula all cut up. A Galvantula tried to sneak up on the Sea Otter Pokemon, but Snivy used her vines to pull him out of danger. Then she launched a Leaf Storm at it, and was successful at knocking it back. It's payback time. And I'm gonna do it with a new combo, Shadow Clones plus Extreme Speed plus Crush Claw equals Frenzy of the Fox Pack. Naruto summoned his clones and their claws began to glow. Then they all dashed towards the bug Pokemon at high speed, landing many strikes which forced the Galvantula to flee. I have to admit that it's almost similar to your Uzumaki Barrage, but it's fox style, which makes a fox like me feel proud, said Kurama, whose chest was puffed out in pride. Hey kid, are you okay? Asked Naruto. Yeah, I'm fine, but why did you guys come after me, especially after I got you hurt? Asked Scraggy. That's because we were worried that you would get hurt, and that you aren't strong enough to win against that many, said Naruto. But Scraggy started to talk but was interrupted. No buts, if you want to get stronger then Naruto and Ash can train you to be the best if that is what you want, said Snivy with her arms crossed. Thank you, and I'm sorry for the trouble I've caused, said Scraggy, bowing to the gang. Naruto relayed the message to Ash and the others, to which they smiled and nodded in affirmation. Axa jumped from Iris' hair and approached Scraggy. I hope that we can get along, said Axa, holding out his paw. Scraggy looked at the held out paw and then shook it with his. Me too, said Scraggy, looking happy. You know, they could be perfect sparring partners for each other, said Sillin, looking at them. You are right about that, but let's get moving, said Naruto. Soon the gang packed and set off for Castelia City. Later that day, the gang were walking along the road until they came to the edge of a large forest before them. So once we pass through here, we'll reach Castelia City, right? Said Ash. That's right, this is the Pinwheel Forest, said Sillin. Why do they call it that? Asked Naruto. It's because as long as we walk along the road, we'll reach the other side with no problem, but if we stray off the path, we could get ourselves lost, said Sillin. Reminds me of the Forest of Bewilderness back at my dimension, said Naruto, Season 5 Episode 210. There is no need to be worried about getting lost, as I'm a forest expert, said Iris with her chest puffed out in pride. I know that she has knowledge of the forest, but I'm not so sure of her navigation skills, thought Naruto, with Kurama agreeing with him. Let's get going and see what this forest has in store for us. With that, the gang ventured into the forest. While walking through the forest, Naruto was feeling at home with his surroundings, which comes to no surprise since where he used to live was within a forest. I sense that this place is rich in natural energy, don't you think so, Kurama? Indeed, which goes to show that this forest has been untouched by humans. I'm sure that there are a lot of these Pokemon living here. Aside from that, can you sense it too? Said Kurama, to which Naruto nodded. Yeah, there is a Pokemon nearby and it's aiming at us, but I sense no ill intent, so I'll just observe in the meantime, thought Naruto. Sure enough, a Pokemon came swinging from a web in its mouth, and its target was Pikachu. However, thanks to Naruto's training, Pikachu was able to sense the incoming attack and jumped off Ash's shoulder, which caused the Pokemon to miss and crash to the ground. It quickly got up and launched a barrage of Razor Leaf at Pikachu, who began to flip backwards to avoid the attack, but that was a distraction as the bug Pokemon jumped into the air and out a string shot at Pikachu, then drew itself close and latched onto him. Then it proceeded to use Bug Bite. That's quite an impressive strategy with those moves of his, said Naruto, with Sillin and Iris agreeing. Come on Pikachu, shake it off, said Ash. Pikachu was successful in throwing the attacking Pokemon off him and leapt back to create some distance between them. Ash brought out his Pokédex to scan the new Pokemon. Sewaddle, the sewing Pokemon. Sewaddle hides itself from its enemies by covering its head with a hood made from a leaf, and is known to eat its leafy clothing when food is scarce. Sewaddle are quite popular among clothing designers as they are known to design and makes their own clothes out of leaves, said Sillin. Whoa, that's very interesting to hear, said Naruto. Indeed, I'm sure they would have fit in with people at Konoha, said Kurama. Well, I like a Pokemon that's strong in battle, so I'm gonna catch it, said Ash, bringing out a Pokeball and preparing to throw it when Sewaddle turned around and shot a string shot at Ash, wrapping him up into a cocoon, much to the amusement of Naruto and Kurama. But why would it attack us like that? Asked Iris curiously. I'm not sure, maybe because it likes to battle, said Sillin. Naruto quickly cut Ash free from the strings with a crushed claw. Thanks for helping me out, Naruto. Now Pikachu use Thunderbolt, said Ash. Pikachu launched an arc of electricity at the bug Pokemon, sending it flying into a tree, but Sawaddle quickly got up and started to use String Shot to swung away from them. Hey wait, come back here. Ash chased after Sawaddle with Pikachu close behind. Ash wait, you straying off the path, said Iris. We don't have a choice but to go after him, otherwise we'll get separated, said Naruto before running after Ash with the others following behind. When they reached him, they noticed that Ash had lost sight of the bug Pokemon. I guess you lost it, huh? Yeah, I want to keep looking for Sawaddle, but I don't want us to get any more lost, said Ash. Indeed, this forest is natural maze, so these risks are just too high, said Sillin. With that being said, the gang tried to retrace their steps back to the path, but they had already gotten themselves lost. I believe the exit to the forest must be this way, said Iris, who had taken the lead, although Naruto was still skeptical about it. Are you sure, Iris? Asked Ash. Of course, it's my sixth sense, I just know it, said Iris proudly. More unscientific explanation, said Sillin with a shrug of his shoulders. SHHH, I just the forest speak, and it's saying that we should go that way, said Iris, pointing to the left and moving on. The others just signed and followed after her, but in the end, they were at the edge of a cliff. Oops. Voice of the forest, huh? Said Ash. The voice must have led us to marvel at this magnificent scenery, said Iris. So the voice of the forest decided to lead to a detour before telling us the way to exit, said Naruto sarcastically. I think it's best that we get to higher ground so as to get a layout of the forest, and we can do that by climbing that tree. He pointed to a large tree to the left. That's a good idea, so let's go, said Ash. Then the gang headed towards the tree, and when they reached there, it was bigger than they thought. Well then, let's check it out, said Naruto, who began to climb the tree with Iris and Ash climbing after him. As they kept on climbing, they came upon a strange-looking green cocoon hanging above them. Have you guys seen anything like this before? When they shook their heads in negative, the cocoon burst open to reveal a man who landed beside them. SHHHH, you don't want to disturb the forest Pokemon, said the man, much to their confusion. Then they descended from the tree to meet up with Sillin, who was waiting at the bottom. What were you doing up there? Asked Ash. I surround myself with nature by living like a forest Pokemon, said the man. But what you do that for? Asked Iris. Well, if I told you, would you understand? It's my pure heart, said the man. What do you mean by that? Asked Naruto. I draw and design pictures, clothes. To be honest, I'm a super talented artist, but an artist who is stuck in a slump, said the man. So even geniuses get into slumps? Asked Iris. Of course, which is why I decided to live out here among the forest Pokemon, said the man. Which is why you have a pure heart? Asked Ash. That's right, for a pure heart makes true art, said the man dramatically, which caused everyone, including Kurama, to sweat drop. I've talked enough about myself, so what brings you here? Well, we strayed off the path and got ourselves lost, said Sillin. Then have no fear, for I can guide you out of here. But since you're here, why do you enjoy living in the forest for a while? Said the man. But the thing is, I want to go to Castelia City and challenge the gym, said Ash. Well, there's no point going there now, for you see, the Castelia gym leader Berg just happens to be me, said the newly named Berg, much to the surprise of the group. So you're saying that you are Berg, the world-famous bug-type Pokemon trainer? Said Sillin. I'm not just a bug-type Pokemon trainer, I'm an artistic trainer, said Berg. This guy is quite full of himself, do you think, Kurama? Thought Naruto. I would agree, but I wouldn't underestimate him. I'm sure he didn't become a gym leader by acting like that, said Kurama. Afterwards, the gang introduced themselves to the bug-type gym leader. I've been meaning to ask about how you get this artistic inspiration by living like a forest Pokemon, said Iris. Well, it all depends on the person. You see, when you live in its most primitive form, your dulled and long-forgotten senses come back to you and realize how beautiful nature is, said Berg. That's almost similar to the sage training I had back at Mount Mayaboku with the toads, said Naruto with a look of understanding along with the others. Then a familiar bug Pokemon came swinging in and smacked Ash right in the face. Isn't that the same Sawaddle from before? Asked Iris. You know it? Asked Berg. Yeah, we got lost because Ash was trying to catch it, said Naruto. Sawaddle then jumped and bounced off Ash's head and landing on Berg's shoulders, where it began to eat the leaves close to it. Sawaddle are very stubborn but are actually sweet Pokemon, said Berg. So is Sawaddle one of your Pokemon? Asked Ash. No, it's a wild Pokemon which tends to keep me company whenever I live out here in the forest. It's also important that you get to know the Pokemon before you attempt to catch it. So would you like to join me? Said Berg. I believe I speak for everyone when I say that we're in, right guys? Said Naruto, turning to the others, who nodded in affirmation. With that, the group set up camp at the base of the tree and Sillin began cook lunch for them. Before you capture a Pokemon, you must first introduce yourselves. Sawaddle used their sensitive knobs on their heads to distinguish between friends and foes. It's also a way of saying hi, said Berg. Then he knelt before Sawaddle and placed his forehead on Sawaddle, who responded in kind. I would like to try it too, said Pikachu, who leapt off Ash's shoulder and did the same and received the same response. Everyone tried it too until it came to Ash's turn. However, he rather received a tackle to the head which sent him to the ground. I guess that's what you get for trying to catch right off the bat, said Iris, laughing at Ash. Don't worry about it, a tackle to head is also a form of saying hello, said Berg, which cheered up Ash a bit. Sawaddle then turned and walked off with Berg, Ash, Iris and Naruto following it. When they reached a bush, Sawaddle just stopped and stared at the leaves. Sawaddle may look like it's just standing, but I'm sure it's doing something, said Berg. Maybe it's listening to the forest, said Iris. Perhaps you're right, said Berg, making her puff her chest out in pride. Or it was just deciding which leaf it wanted to eat, said Naruto. Everyone turned to see that Sawaddle was indeed eating, to which Iris' face faltered at. Then Sawaddle then started walking off again until they reached a hill where it yawned and then curled up to sleep. Nothing like a nice nap after a big meal, said Berg. So that means, said Ash, we should also take a nap too? Asked Iris, to which Berg nodded in affirmation. Everyone laid down to rest and look up at the sky. You know, I had a friend who always lay down like this and just stare up at the clouds without a worry in world. Although he may seem lazy, he is actually one of the smartest guys around, said Naruto, remembering his old friend Shikamaru. Your friend is right. Looking up at the sky as beyond it is space, which is infinitely huge, said Berg. That sounds awesome, said Ash, with Iris agreeing. Soon Sawaddle woke up and was on the move again. The group followed it to where ripe fruits grow and began to eat again. So it ate, and then slept, and now it's eating again, so will it go back to sleep? Said Iris. Well, that's the way it goes, which is the same with baby people, right? Said Berg. Suddenly a woobat burst out from the bush which Sawaddle was eating from, screeching at them. It must have been eating as well and must want Sawaddle to stay away, but that will only lead to a fight, said Naruto. Woobat used double team to confuse them, but Sawaddle used string shot to dispel them, but another woobat burst from a bush behind Sawaddle and both of them launched air cutter at the bug Pokemon. Sawaddle, look out! Shouted Ash before jumping in between the attacks and Sawaddle to take the hit. Seeing what happened angered Pikachu and Sawaddle, who proceeded to fire Thunderbolt and Razor Leaf respectively at the woobat, scaring them away. Ash, are you okay? Asked Iris, who was concerned. Yeah, I'm totally fine, said Ash, assuring them that he's alright. Sawaddle appeared carrying an apple and placing it next to Ash. Is that fruit for me? Sawaddle turned away from him, but Naruto knew its intentions. Well, thanks a lot. Later on, as the sun sets, the gang were back at the tree and were helping themselves to the food which Sillin cooked. In the night they took their sleeping bags to sleep on the wide branches of the tree while gazing at stars. I've never slept at a treetop before. Sleeping under the stars with the forest Pokemon is one of the greatest experiences for a Pokemon trainer, said Berg. Naruto agreed, as he used to gaze at the stars from the Hokage monument at night. Sawaddle, why don't you hang out with us? Said Ash. Sawaddle, who was hanging above them with a thread, turned away from them. It's okay. Good night. Later Ash felt something enter his sleeping bag and woke to see that it was Sawaddle curling up next to him. That's quite an unusual thing for Sawaddle to do, said Berg with a smile. That Sawaddle just can't be honest with himself, said Naruto, smiling at them before going to sleep like everyone else. Early in the morning, they were woken up by Pikachu, who seemed worried. Pikachu, what's up? Asked Ash. Sawaddle has just been carried off by a Patrat, said Pikachu, pointing below. Ash and Naruto looked down at Patrat running off with Sawaddle on its head. Let's go after it, said Ash, putting on his clothes and going after it with the others close behind. They followed all the way into a cave where they saw the Patrat standing in front of them protectively while another Patrat lay behind, looking ill. I recall that the leaves the Sawaddle wear have medicinal effects, which must be why the Patrat made off with Sawaddle in the first place. But I have the medicine just for that, said Berg. He took out a bottle of pills and gave one to the sick Patrat, which instantly cured it of its illness. Both Patrat thanked Berg for his help before they left. But if Sawaddle is not here, then where could he be? Asked Naruto. No sooner he said that, Deerling appeared before them and they saw Sawaddle attached to it while its leaf hold was all torn up. Deerling then took off with the others chasing after it, and began to panic when they saw it heading towards a valley with the intention of jumping over it. Sawaddle, use string shot and aim at my arm and then pull yourself over to me, said Ash. Just as Deerling jumped over the valley, Sawaddle shot a string at Ash's arm and proceeded to pull itself over, but a sudden gust of wind tore the rope, causing it to fall to the river below. Oh no, Sawaddle! Ash immediately jumped in after the bug Pokemon in order to save it. Ash saw Sawaddle floating towards a waterfall and quickly swam to grab it before falling over, but he was quickly grabbed by a thread of silk and pulled back to edge of the cliff. Ash, are you okay? Asked Naruto. Yeah, I'm fine. What about you, Sawaddle? Said Ash, looking at the bug Pokemon, who smiled happily at him. But what about your clothes? You don't have to worry about that. My Levany can solve that, said Berg. Ash took out his Pokédex to scan the new Pokemon. Levany, the nurturing Pokemon and Sawaddle's final evolutionary form. Using sticky threads that come from its mouth, it makes clothes for Sawaddle by sewing leaves together. Soon they were led to where large leaves grow, and Levany picked up a green leaf and proceeded to sew a new shirt for Sawaddle, which it happily wore. Looking good, Sawaddle, said Ash. I have to say that I'm impressed with how you rescued in a totally unselfish way and a pure heart, said Berg. I have to agree with Berg. In a way, you remind of myself, said Naruto, smiling at Ash. I would even go as far as to say that he could be your counterpart in this dimension, said Kurama. You two aren't the only ones, as Sawaddle feels the same way, said Sillin, as everyone looked down to see Sawaddle rubbing against Ash's leg. Ash knelt before the bug Pokemon. So would you like to come with me, Sawaddle? Asked Ash, which Sawaddle nodded in affirmation. Okay, then go Pokeball. He threw a Pokeball at Sawaddle, who got sucked in, and the capsule rocked several times before making a sound to signify the capture, but it shrunk down and refused to open. I believe that's your 8th Pokemon. Normally when a trainer has more than 6 Pokemon excluding you who has 7, the extra Pokeball will remain locked until you switch with the Pokemon you currently have, which can be done at the Pokemon Center, said Sillin. And there so happens to be a Pokemon Center right at the edge of the forest. I can take you there, said Berg. Later they arrived at the Pokemon Center, and Ash transferred Pidove to Professor Juniper to keep. Then he came back and called out Sawaddle from his Pokeball. I hope that we can get along, said Ash before placing upon Sawaddle's, causing everyone to smile. Ah, Ash, thanks for the inspiration for my next work. I hope to see you again at the Castelia gym, as I am looking forward to our Pokemon battle, said Berg before running off, while the gang waved goodbye to him and continued on their way. Chapter 9. The Skeptical Evaluation. After the venture in the Pinwheel Forest and having a new Pokemon companion join them, the gang continued onwards to Castelia City to challenge Berg, the bug-type gym leader, to earn a badge. Along the way, Naruto saw something which made him draw the attention of the others to see as well. Hey guys, what's that over there? Said Naruto, raising a paw to point at where he was looking. Ash and the others turned to look in direction of where he pointed to see a building in the distance, and many people and Pokemon were going in and out of it. I don't know, but let's check it out, said Ash. As they drew close to the building, they noticed that it looked new and people were carrying bags of items when leaving the building. Judging by how new the building looks, I'd say that it's a brand new Pokemart, said Sillin. Which must mean that today must be their grand opening, said Iris excitedly. Then let's check it out, said Ash. The gang entered the new building and were stunned at what they saw in the interior. Inside there were shops that sold all kinds of items like tools, foods, medicine, and so much more, which not even Ash, Iris, and Sillin had seen before anywhere else. Wow, this place is huge. I wonder what kind of things they sell here, said Iris before running off to take a closer look at the things on sale. I'm sure that they sell all kinds of Pokemon food here, Ash, who was walking alongside Sillin and Naruto. Indeed, Pokemart are known to sell all kinds of items for trainers, but it seems like this one is more extensive than the regular ones, said Sillin. That's good. It might be a good idea to restock on supplies and purchase items that we would need in the near future, said Naruto. That's a good idea, Naruto, as I've just realized that we're quite low on ingredients. We can do that before we leave, said Sillin. Then they strolled through the mart, looking at the assortment of the things on display, while Iris was browsing through the accessories section, looking at the bracelets behind the glass case. They kept on walking until Naruto saw a long queue of Pokemon trainers standing before a red curtain which was closed. What's going on there? Asked Naruto. They are waiting in line to get into a connoisseur shop where connoisseur check for compatibility, said Sillin, who came up next to them. What do you mean by compatibility? Asked Ash with a look of curiosity. That's right, they check for compatibility between trainers and their Pokemon and give them advice, said Sillin. It's pretty obvious that there are a lot of connoisseurs aside from Sillin, but I believe that there are ranks, right? Said Naruto. You're correct. Every connoisseur must be evaluated by the Pokemon Connoisseur Association, where they placed into different classes that range from C, B, A, and finally S class. In order to perform a compatibility check, you have to be an A class or higher, and it so happens that I am an A class, said Sillin with pride. Then the curtain opened to reveal a woman standing behind a table as a trainer walked away happily while carrying his Minchino. Whoa, it's a girl, said Ash in surprise, to which Naruto rolled his eyes over due to how obvious it is for a female to share the occupation since Tsunade was the first female Hokage in his village. The proper name for a female connoisseur is connoisseuse. Why don't you have a consultation, as well as it would be a good idea to get some advice from someone else's perspective, said Sillin. Okay then, I can ask her about how compatible I am with Sawadl, said Ash. Naruto nodded in agreement. Alright, I'll go and restock on ingredients and items before we leave, so I'll see you later, said Sillin before walking off. Ash and Naruto went to stand at the end of the line, which was very long. Man, this line is so long that I don't think I can even sit still, said Naruto. Well, it comes from the fact that you're a hyperactive knucklehead, said Kurama, laughing at the Pokemon ninja. Shut up, furball, I can't help it, thought Naruto angrily. You there, with the red hat. You don't need to wait in that silly line, I'm a connoisseur too, said a voice. They turned to see a purple curtain and a hand was sticking out of it, beckoning for them to come. Wow, so you can see us all the way from here, said Ash, but Naruto and Kurama were skeptical. If she is also a connoisseur, then why aren't there trainers queuing here as well, thought Naruto. He shrugged it off and followed Ash, but when he drew close, a girl with purple wearing clothes similar to Sillin pulled him in and dragged him to a seat. My name is Ash, I'm a Pokemon trainer, and this is my best buddy Pikachu, and that's Tokala, said Ash, pointing at Pikachu and Naruto. My name is Burgundy. I may not look like it, but I'm a highly skilled connoisseur ranked by the Pokemon Connoisseur Association. So besides compatibility, you can also ask me about preparing Pokemon food, battle strategy, and even the choice of accessories, said the girl. Well, I was hoping that you could tell me about the compatibility between me and my Pokemon, said Ash. Then Burgundy drew close to him, much to his surprise. You mean Pikachu? It's an extremely rare Pokemon in the Unova region, said Burgundy. Then she sniffed at Pikachu. Pikachu even has a rare fragrance. I don't need to know about Pikachu. It's without a doubt that we're a perfect match, said Ash happily, with Pikachu and Naruto smiling as well. It's pretty obvious, especially since Pikachu is Ash's first Pokemon, and they have been together for the longest time, thought Naruto, with Kurama nodding in agreement. That's true, though it makes me wonder why this girl didn't notice that from the beginning, said Kurama. I'd rather wanted you to take a look at this one. Come out, Sawadl, said Ash, who opened the Pokemon to bring out the bug Pokemon. I'll be happy to take a look at the both of you, Allor. It is evaluating time, SIL vous plate, said Burgundy, taking out her Pokédex. I see. After looking at Sawadl, she turned her back to them. So how is it? Asked Ash anxiously. The compatibility between you and your Sawadl is the worst ever, declared Burgundy to everyone's surprise. This Sawadl's special ability is called Swarm. But you would be much better off with a Sawadl that has the special ability called Chlorophyll. Why do you say that? Asked Ash, with Naruto looking at Burgundy, wanting to know the reason as well, and noticed her flinch a bit. Are you questioning the advice of a connoisseur that is recognized by the Pokemon Connoisseur Association? Look, you can catch bugs types anywhere, so take my connoisseur's advice and go catch a different Sawadl, said Burgundy. She didn't even answer the question he asked, thought Naruto. Sawadl got annoyed and shot a string shot at her face, wrapping it up, much to his amusement. Ash quickly called the bug type back before it got worse. Why the nerve of that pesky bug type? Don't you have any proper Pokemon you can show me? I've had quite enough of that one, so show me another now, said Burgundy after tearing the silk off her face. No thanks, I think I should leave, said Ash, getting up, with Naruto agreeing wholeheartedly as he had enough of this. But Burgundy held him in place. Didn't you say you wanted to be a Pokemon master? Unless you have your compatibility properly evaluated, that is not going to happen, said Burgundy. Okay then, Snivy, said Ash, bringing out Snivy, who stood with her arms crossed. Burgundy took a sniff at her, then frowned a bit. This Snivy has a pungent aroma of black pepper and no subtlety at all. And its eyes are too sharp, like kitchen knives. Now for the taste test. She drew close with her tongue out, but Snivy wouldn't have any of it, and used Vine Whip to lash at the tongue, inflicting quite a bit of pain for the connoisseurs. That Snivy also has zero respect for my tongue. You shouldn't say that, said Ash angrily. Plus, I don't think any connoisseur would even think of licking a Pokemon just to evaluate it, thought Naruto, who was getting annoyed as well. I'm surprised that you aren't speaking out for them to hear you, said Kurama. And get myself evaluated? No thanks, thought Naruto, looking at Burgundy. What about my Tepig? Said Ash. bringing out the friendly fire pig Pokemon who smiled at her. It was a minute of stares and smiles until Burgundy finally spoke. It's no good. What do you mean no good? Said Ash, clearly annoyed this time. Tepig just sits there with that silly smile. It's far too good-natured for a Pokemon battle. I don't even have to evaluate it to know that, said Burgundy. This annoyed Tepig enough to use Ember to scorch her face. Without warning, Oshawott came out of his Pokeball. Oshawott, why do you keep coming out of your Pokeball? Asked Ash. I'm sure that I can impress her, said Oshawott before hugging Burgundy's leg and winking at her. However, this produced a different result. Zoot! I can believe this childish behavior, or that old stale and musty aroma drifting through the air. This Oshawott is a complete waste of my time, said Burgundy. What did you say? Said Oshawott angrily before blasting her face with a water gun. Naruto's resistance to lash out was weakening by the minute. Okay, how about my Scraggy? Said Ash, who was at his wit's end. Burgundy took a sniff at Scraggy, making Naruto wonder if she is related to Kiba's clan. Scraggy has the aroma of an old shoe, but even so, said Burgundy. Scraggy pulled up his pants proudly, although it sagged back down. You should be ashamed of yourself, making Scraggy hit her with a headbutt. That's enough. All of your Pokemon are far too acidic for their own good, and they're paralyzing my tongue. I have no idea what you're talking about. At first you said that Pikachu is a rare Pokemon, and he had a rare fragrance, or something like that, said Ash. The word rare doesn't necessarily mean good. Frankly, your Pikachu is not as cute as the pictures I've seen, said Burgundy. Sure enough, Pikachu struck her with a thunderbolt. Horrible. All of your Pokemon are horrible. You need to make a complete change of your Pokemon. Sorry, but I think you're wrong, said Ash angrily. Then you don't mind being a loser? You want win all 8 badges and make it to the Unova League? Newsflash, it's not going to happen, said Burgundy. Are you serious? Asked Ash. Of course. I am a Pokemon connoisseur, and I know what I am talking about, said Burgundy as a matter of fact. Which I find highly doubtful. So far, everything I've seen and heard is based on the looks and behavior of my friends, which deviates from what you are supposed to really do, said Naruto, finally speaking up for the first time. And what kind of Pokemon are you? Are you trying to imitate a Ninetales? 'Cause you're not doing a good job of it. Honestly, you're better off without those tails, said Burgundy. She had to take a few steps back from the glare which Naruto was giving her at the moment. She did not just make fun of the tails, did she? Growled Kurama. Don't push your luck. Unlike the others, I'm not so good at holding back my strength when I'm angry, warned Naruto. The situation was about to escalate when Iris and Sillin showed up through the curtain. Ash, where have you been? We were looking all over for you, said Iris. Yeah, we were getting so worried since you had been gone for so long, said Sillin. It's you, exclaimed Burgundy while pointing at Sillin. Wait a minute, I know you, said Sillin. You know this girl Sillin? Asked Ash. She challenged me back at the Straighten Gym, and if I remember, she lost, said Sillin. And I have been waiting for this day even since, for this is the day I will have my revenge, declared Burgundy. But what do you want revenge for? Asked a confused Sillin. I want revenge not only for my defeat but for all those hurtful things you said about my Pokemon, said Burgundy angrily. Well, I am a Pokemon connoisseur, said Sillin. Sillin, I get the feeling that Burgundy mistook your words of advice for insults, as what I've just heard sounds highly exaggerated, said Naruto when they heard what she thought Sillin said. Then she went ahead to tell the gang about how she got evaluated by the Pokemon Connoisseur Association and earned the license to become a Pokemon connoisseur so that she can beat Sillin. But was surprised when she returned to the gym and heard that he had left on a journey. Look, I feel bad that you came after me, but we can't have gym battles since this isn't a gym, said Sillin. I've already earned the badge by defeating Chili. All I care about now is defeating you and taking my place as a top-class connoisseur, and then I can have my very own shop after being world famous, said Burgundy with stars in her eyes. Wait a minute, doesn't that mean that this isn't a connoisseur shop to begin with? Said Naruto, staring intently at Burgundy, who began to sweat. Now that you mention it, what class of connoisseur are you then? Asked Sillin. Well, I'm AC class, said Burgundy hesitantly. AC class? Sillin, didn't you tell us that one has to be an A class or higher to be able to perform a compatibility check? Asked Naruto. That's correct, those of C class are only allowed to assist connoisseurs of an A class and above according to the rules of the association, said Sillin. So you mean that you've been giving us false evaluations? Said Ash angrily. No way. Any connoisseur would have said the same thing I did. You need a complete Pokemon overhaul, said Burgundy. There is no need for that, said Scylla to Burgundy's surprise. I think Ash has an excellent relationship with his Pokemon. Thanks a lot, Scylla, said Ash happily. So there may be a little problem with your evaluation method, said Scylla. Burgundy was stunned for a moment, and then frowned at him. What did you say? The relationship between trainer and Pokemon is a complex one. You can't always make a good judgment just by following the manual, said Scylla. I don't need you to lecture me. I know more than you'll ever know, and I'll prove it by beating you in a Pokemon battle, said Burgundy. Then I accept your challenge, said Scylla to everyone's surprise. Later they stood at a clearing away from the Pokemart where Scylla and Burgundy may have their Pokemon battle. How does a 2-on-2 sound to you? Asked Burgundy. That's fine, whatever you say, said Scylla. At the sidelines, Ash, Iris, and Naruto were watching the upcoming battle. This is so cool, I've never seen a connoisseur battle before, said Ash excitedly. Me neither. Pikachu was just as excited. Well, if you asked me, I think this battle is going to be a bit of a pain, said Iris. Maybe, but we might be able to learn a bit from this battle, said Naruto with Kurama nodding in agreement. Alright, Duat. Let's go, said Burgundy, throwing out a Pokeball to summon a Pokemon that bears similarity to Oshawott but different. I can see that your Oshawott has evolved into a Duat, said Scylla. Grass types have an advantage over water types, said Iris. So now is a good time to use Pansage, who is a grass type, said Ash. Naruto remained silent. Now for my Pokemon, said Scylla, bringing out Dwebble, much to everyone's surprise. Allure, it is evaluating time. S'il vous plaît. Wow, Scylla, you're you a bug and rock type against my water type? If your ability to choose wisely were a food, I'd say it's spoiled, said Burgundy with a smirk. We'll see, it's evaluating time. Let's put it this way, you and your Pokemon are about to get a nice taste of what we have to offer, said Scylla. Bon, but if I'm victorious, that will finally prove that my evaluation method is correct, said Burgundy. I don't that will ever be the case, said Scylla. Then if you're so sure, how about you promise that if I win, Ash will replace all of his Pokemon, said Burgundy to everyone's surprise. Naruto was getting angry at the immaturity of the girl. Hey, hold on. This has nothing to do with this, said Ash. Scylla said that your relationship with your Pokemon is perfect. But my evaluation methods tell me that yours is the worst of the worst, said Burgundy. Which goes to show how much of a rookie you are, said Naruto. Don't worry about it, Ash, and I'll accept your battle challenge, said Scylla. Ash was about to protest, but Naruto stopped him. I'm sure Scylla knows what he is doing, and should you have faith in him to win this battle just like he does in ours, said Naruto, which reassured Ash as they watched on. There are no mistakes in my Pokemon evaluation. I'll show you the power of my Pokemon that's fully matured. Duat use water gun, said Burgundy. Duat shot a stream of water at Dwebble. Use protect, said Scylla. Dwebble withdrew to its, successfully deflecting the water attack. Now use Fury Cutter. Duat charged towards Dwebble with its claws glowing. Use protect again. Dwebble withdrew into its shell again to defend against the onslaught of slash from Duat. All that Dwebble is doing is defending, said Iris. A bug and rock type like Dwebble is no match for a water type like Duat, said Ash, looking worried. I think I have an idea at what Scylla is planning, said Naruto. And that girl has already fallen into his trap, said Kurama. Only defense? That strategy seems dull for an A-class connoisseur like yourself. Choosing Dwebble to go up against my Duat has to be the worst choice you have ever made. We'll finish this with our next attack, Water Pulse, said Burgundy. Duat shot an orb of water at Dwebble, which connected, but it was able to get up without any problem, much to the surprise of the girl. What? But how? That's because this Dwebble has the ability called Sturdy, said Scylla with a smile. That was his plan, and take a look at Duat, said Naruto with a smirk. They looked at Duat, who was panting heavily. Now to show you Dwebble's true power, use Shell Smash and then use X Scissor. Dwebble jumped out of its shell and into the air, then it glowed red and its claws glowed white and extended before charging at Duat. Duat used Razor Shell. Duat grabbed its Scalchops and clashed with Dwebble's attack, but when they landed, Dwebble returned to its shell while Duat collapsed, forcing Burgundy to call it back to its Pokeball. Alright, Dwebble won, said Ash happily. Scylla's plan was to make Duat wear itself out while defending so that he could land a powerful attack afterwards, which was a good strategy, said Naruto with a smile. See my method? I choose Dwebble to go up against Duat because I'm sure that its special ability Sturdy would allow it to withstand even a powerful water-type attack. All Pokemon are complex, which is why you shouldn't always rely on a manual to evaluating them. So you chose a Pokemon with a type disadvantage just so you can teach me a lesson? Said Burgundy. It seems you still don't understand the true nature of evaluating. A connoisseur's job isn't to just say no, but to see each and every Pokemon for its own unique qualities and judge them based on that, said Sillin. Look, Sillin, the battle isn't over yet. Hussbek, let's go, said Burgundy, bringing out another Pokemon which was new to Ash and Naruto. Ash took out his Pokédex to scan it. Hussbek, the seasoned Pokemon, and the evolved form of Deerling. The plants on Hussbek's horns change depending on the time of the year, and people often use them to measure the passing of the seasons. Hussbek is my premium rare Pokemon. I want to see what kind of evaluation you have for us, said Burgundy. Now for my premium rare, Panzage, said Sillin, bringing out Panzage after calling back Dwebble. Burgundy, your battling style reflects a fine blend of strength and courage, but it will be some time until that recipe has been refined into one that's destined to become a timeless classic. All this recipe talk makes me angry and hungry, said Burgundy. You know, I have to admit that I'm getting hungry too, said Naruto with his stomach growling. Do you have to think about food at this time? Asked Kurama. If you stand out here, listening to them talking about recipes and stuff, you would get hungry too, thought Naruto. You have a point there, just hope that they finish the battle soon, then you can go and get something to eat, said Kurama. Hussbek, use Horn Leech, said Burgundy. Hussbek charged at Panzage with its horns glowing yellow. Use Dig, said Sillin. Panzage quickly burrowed underground. Burgundy, now we'll explore the full depths of battle, my recipe revealed. Panzage burst out of the ground from behind Hussbek. Hussbek used Jump Kick. Hussbek launched a double kick at Panzage. Panzage used Dig. Panzage went underground again. Now come out and use Bullet Seed. Panzage came out and fired several volleys of seeds at Hussbek from the left, right and behind, which left it confused. Sillin, that was sneaky, exclaimed Burgundy angrily. Well, confusion is another piece of the battle puzzle, as you can see, said Sillin with a smirk. Use Mega Horn. Hussbek charged in again with glowing white horns towards Panzage. Naruto shook his head in disappointment. That was a bad choice of move for her to use, said Naruto. The others turned to him, wondering why he said that. You remember that Panzage has one more move in his arsenal? After taking a moment to think, their eyes widened in realization. Perfect. The time has come to end this battle with an unexpected ingredient by using Solar Beam. Panzage gathered sunlight its paws and then fired a beam of sunlight at Hussbek, knocking it out. Amazing! Sillin is stronger than I thought, said Ash. I told you to have faith in him, and he has pulled through. Now we don't have to worry about replacing our friends, said Naruto with a smile. Thank goodness for that, said Iris. Later in the day, after a lunch because of Naruto, the gang decided to see Burgundy off when Sillin called out to her. Burgundy, you have the potential to be a great connoisseur, but you need more time to develop and grow. The key to achieve anything in life is patience, said Sillin. I'm sick and tired of your lectures. I'm going to become an S-class connoisseur, and then I'll show how strong I am, declared Burgundy. That's good, I'll be looking forward to that day, said Sillin with a smile, causing Burgundy to blush before yelling out. I'll have my revenge on you someday for sure. Then she took off in a cloud of dust, while the gang's sweat dropped at the scene. She's quite something, despite being a rookie, said Naruto. Actually, being able to pass the C-class connoisseur evaluation is no walk in the park, plus you have to give her credit for that spark and spirit, said Sillin. Then we'll do the same in our gym battles, right, Naruto and Pikachu? Said Ash. That's right, believe it, said Naruto, raising a paw in the air. Yeah, we've got your back, said Pikachu. With that, the gang continued on their way to Castelia City to meet up with Berg and challenge his Pokemon gym. What if Naruto has harem with Snivy x Riolu? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.